Yeah, the people didn't dig it when they woke up this morning and found the troops were here.
What do you think they'll do?
I can't see them trying to fight the army.
They don't mind fighting police.
He that killed by the sword shall die by the sword. Execution by the spook who sat by the door. Bodies galore, Yahweh is a man of war. Psalms 83 and 4, the last thing that he saw. The Israelites tried to warn him about breaking them laws. Not a godfather want his body sent to the morgue. Revenge is mine, thus saith the Lord. Now Ronald Reagan's sons gotta pay cause he sold our fathers that raw. Y'all ain't slick, man, we know that it's the FBI. All up on the timeline with profiles in the skies. Trying to whack the black messiahs, tapping phones, wearing wires. But it's Kwame Yasharella, yeah, we still on the rise. Death to J. Edgar Hoover, send the fishes, then the shooters. Got them shotters like a side of shoot you. Take a trip to Cuba, this the ghost of Huey Newton. Sucker, fuck up Freddy Krueger. Nightmares will make you clutch that Ruger to your own medulla. Don't cry your Howard shot, he just gon' say he never knew ya. Y'all Jewish people, double agents, who y'all think y'all fooling? Synagogue of Satan, y'all must really think we stupid. But God loves everybody, y'all must really think he Cupid. Let me get that Obadiah, and he ain't off to no confusion. So false prophets, now it's time to step down off that pulpit. The way we moving like Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover. Get down or lay down, we ain't gon' tolerate no cooning. This whole land's defiled and it can't be cleansed but by the blood of the men that shed it. So if you really wanna make America great again, well then the time's now, Mr. President. Sword thrusted through his chest while he puffed his cigarette. He ain't even see the face, he just saw the silhouette. Burn Babylon, burn, tried to tell him we got next. It's the birth of a nation, gone like the frankincense. Spooky.
Ain't rockin' with no false prophets. Don't know what that feel like. Gon' wanna hear about your dream. No Martin Luther King, boy, this is real life. You came in like a savior, like you had a favor. My people still die. I can hear the pain and they still crying. They still sighing, you still alive. Ain't rockin' with no false prophets. We don't know what that feel like. Don't wanna hear about your dream. No Martin Luther King, boy, this is real life. You came in like a savior, like you had a favor. My people still die. I can hear the pain and they still crying. They still sighing, you still alive.
It's a lot of bloodthirsty wolves rapping in the prey wearing sheep's clothing. And I don't like snakes, keep my grass cut so low you can't need more. Boy, your ears itching, you a hypocrite. What you doing when the book closed? Woe to the pastor that scattered the chosen, causing division, we gotta expose it. My people, they out here starving, you at the ATM making deposits. Some of these niggas be worse than these Christians with fringes and ribbons on hips of their garments. Do anything for the clout, praising your house shot out of your mouth. But lead us to slaughter like slaves at the auction, you traded your life in the field for a house. In the latter days, there'll be many that are going to depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits, doctrines of devils, falling away. And in that day, many shall say, have we not prophesied in that name? But all those that loathe thy law, the same will know it after death through pain. Like damn, you was just banging on Esau. Now you all hell banging on these laws. What's up with your doctrine? I thought you was solid, my nigga. I never thought you was a fall. I know we all gotta answer to God. Yeah, how I shall know that I'm bearing my cross. But any man teaching, don't keep the commandments. At least up in heaven, I'm praying for y'all.
False prophets, don't know what that feel like. Gon' wanna hear about your dream. No Martin Luther King, boy, this is real life. You came in like a savior, like you had a favor. My people still die. I can hear the pain and they still crying. They still sighing, you still alive. Ain't rockin' with no false prophets. We don't know what that feel like. Don't wanna hear about your dream. No Martin Luther King, boy, this is real life. You came in like a savior, like you had a favor. My people still die. I can hear the pain and they still crying. They still sighing, you still alive.
Purchase your tracks today.
It's Friday night, and you know what time it is. It's another episode of Inside the Nation Radio with your host, Abaya Adenaya. Hit that subscribe and like button. It's showtime.
Shalom, 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 shalom. What's poppin' is real. We about to get started. We ain't gonna hesitate. We're gonna jump right into this thing. I know a lot of people been waiting. I got 1,000 emails, 1,000 inboxes, 1,000 comments. So I know people waiting. And but before we get started, we're gonna give all praises to the Most High God. All right. We're gonna give all praises to the Most High God. I think what we all can agree on is He is the Most High God, the creator of all things, creator of heaven and earth, right? What we're gonna talk about tonight is, who is it? What's his name? What's the language? Are we saying what we're saying properly or not? And we got a special guest. You know, I don't even know if I be getting on the brother nerves when I keep saying this, but I'm like, this is the coldest teacher in Israel. I don't know if secretly he might be like, I wish he stopped saying that, right? But I'm like, this is the coldest teacher in Israel, man. So I think about a year now, maybe a little longer, I've been having this back and forth, this thought process about, you know, I'm not very strong in the language, which is my goal, to become stronger in the language and understanding. And so, but some things just didn't seem to fit, right? They just didn't seem to fit, seemed a little, I don't know. So I reached out to this brother and I was like, hey, what do you think about coming on and discussing, you know, the true language? And, you know, right away, he definitely said, hey, let's do it. And we got him on here tonight. The big Ock Zion Lexx. Let's get him on the screen. The big Ock, we're definitely glad that he can join us tonight. And we about to get it popping. How you doing, King? You on mute. You on mute.
Shalom.
There you go.
Big salute to you. Big salute to you. Abiyah. Shalom to you, Aki. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing even better now that we get this show on. We was supposed to do this like a few months ago. I got a couple months ago. I know something kept coming up. Then we traveled. Then we was out of town. Then we was back in. And then, you know, we came back. And so I was moving around. But I'm glad that we able to get on here tonight. Before we jump into the language, man, for those of you who don't know, and I don't know who in the Israelite community don't know, but let's talk about real quick the beginning. Well, the beginning that I know, at least, right? Because when I started becoming familiar with this brother, I was looking at things like Kimmon on trial. And I looked at this brother walked into, like, was there any other Israelites there besides yourself?
Yeah, you had Divine Prospect in the building. Shout out to him. You had Hashar, General Hashar.
Okay,
You had Nazi Yashuvel. You know, he was a big name at that time in the community. You had Priest Daniela. You had the whole lines of Israel. You had the whole AOC Alpha and Omega clan. We was in the building. You even had a lot of ISUPK members. You also had Gabar, Elder Gabar, GOCC. So yeah, there were a lot of groups that were represented. I'm sure there were many more. I just can't remember every group by name. I know I saw some GMS heads in there too.
Oh boy. Yeah. Hey, so
coming on trial
I
was
definitely
different, man.
Yeah. I definitely remember seeing all them brothers too. It was one that I was trying to think of. If I'm remembering correctly, I thought I saw you go in there like you were solo, like you was walked in the Den of Lions by yourself.
Oh, that was the Comedic War Conference. They told me I was out my mind because, you know, at that time, you know, Seti was the big name in the community. And me and him had a back and forth spat online leading up to the Comedic War Conference. And he actually threatened me on the phone and was like, you know, don't come out here. And the first thing on my mind is, like any person native to their city is, it's one thing you tell me it's a no-fly zone to your city. You know, I might kind of respect that. I got a little bit of my marbles left.
Right.
But you telling me I can't come out of my own city? Don't come outside? So not only did I come, but I made sure I came alone because I want to know what's really gonna happen.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
now that's
I'm a different person, man.
I see that part. Now that part's new to me. That's the one I was referring to. I do remember seeing, you know, Priest Anya Allah. I remember all the names that you just called out, Divine Prospect, and all them being out there as well. But that's when I first became really familiar, and I started following. Purchased a couple books that you put out, and I'm like, oh, this brother is really cold. He's really cold with it. And so I started following more closely and understanding. And I started seeing how, like, the knowledge level with the language. Now, here's what I do want to ask. When it comes down to reading the hieroglyphs, How did you learn that? Like, how did you get to that point when you started understanding that?
So much of that, arguably, is self-taught. Much of that, but then I did learn a great deal with the deceased elder Baba Heru. This is the teacher of Brother Jabari. So back in 2017, I was fed up with the dishonesty in the Kemetic community among those that knew the Medu Neter and their untrustworthy reputation for really translating the glyphs in a way that represented what was actually being said. And we happened to have caught them in many, many lies. They were telling on each other, as a matter of fact. So I said to myself, you know what? One thing I already know from learning Hebrew: anytime you're reading a translation, you're a slave in that moment to whatever the translator's saying. So if I'm relying on anybody to tell me what the Medu Neter is saying, I'm a slave to you in that moment. So my thing is, my name in Hebrew is Abdiel. I know people know me as Zion Lexx. That's a stage name. That's when I debate. But my actual Hebrew name is Abdiel Ben Levi. And my name Abdiel literally means servant of God. And that's the only personage that I'm serving, is the creator. I'm not serving man. So having said that, I say, you know what, man? I'm always up for a challenge. I'm gonna learn the Medu Neter. So I went out, bought like every Medu Neter dictionary. I spent a lot of money. I studied with some museum tour guides. Luckily, I live in New York City, so the Met Museum is not far from me. So I actually met and studied with museum tour guides that actually knew the Medu Neter. And then about 2 or 3 years into it, Baba Heru began to share with me. And then that's when my Medu Neter skills took off. And then I, studied a little bit from Elder Mfudiji, Grandmaster Baba Mfudiji. Learned a great deal from him. Still have a lot of respect for him. And so yeah, that was that journey as it pertains to learning Medu Neter, because what we may not understand as Israelites or as Hebrews is that much of our history is told by the Egyptians. But if we can't read the glyphs, we can't read the writing on the wall, we can't confirm what's being said.
Right. So before we move forward, one more question. Can you remember the look on their faces when you started breaking? What was that like? I'm breaking down something that you can't even break down. It's supposed to be yours.
When I tell you time and time again, I'm in the Met Museum in New York City, Manhattan, and I'm reading Medu Neter hieroglyphs, and I have students of Jabari or students of Shaka Amos or students of Mfudiji running, but like, is that Zion? You know Medu Neter? People can't believe it, man. So yeah, the first time I actually demonstrated my skill set in the community, there were a lot of different views and takes on it. I want to say for the most part, I was received with a lot of hate, naturally, the Kemetic community. But ironically, the hate came from the people that didn't even know Medu Neter. The scholars of the Medu Neter, the Grand Masters, they all reached out to me and loved what I was doing and gave me, a big salute for it, and actually said, I want to know how you got this far without learning under anybody. But I had already had, as a skill set, learning Hebrew and Aramaic. And in learning Hebrew and Aramaic, Medu Neter is an Afro-Asiatic language. And so when you're studying the grammar, the morphology, and the syntax of Aramaic and Hebrew, and then you move to Medu Neter, you realize these two languages are related. There's an argument, maybe even a debate as to which comes first and who thought what. But I can tell you what I know through studying them all. There's a common ancestor that they're all derived from. Of course, I'm going to argue that that's Hebrew. They're going to argue it's Medu Neter itself. But any grammarian that understands Hebrew grammar, Aramaic grammar, and Medu Neter grammar will definitely tell you that they're related. When a language shares vocabulary with other language groups, that language is said to have, commonality, and it suggests trade. It suggests influence. It suggests that they had some type of cultural interaction. But when languages share almost the same exact grammatical structure, skeleton-wise, then that says that one derived from the other, or they both derive from a common source. And so in studying Medu Neter, that's what I easily learned. They're clearly deriving from a common source. And of course, my argument will be that it's Hebrew. And I actually have a PowerPoint presentation ready to go to demonstrate that.
Man, it's fine. It's crazy. You said something I think was very powerful, that it was the people who really didn't know that gave you the hate versus those who actually studied more and had a better understanding. Those who it's just my little saying, and I'm not talking about anybody in general, nobody watching, just my saying. But it'd be somebody stupid be the first one to call you stupid. It's like you're the first people.
One thing for certain, two things for sure, the universe is always full with irony. It'll always be the people that should not be talking are the ones that are screaming the loudest. Always.
The loudest.
Always.
Oh man. Hey, well, so let's jump right into it. Like you said, we got the presentation, the PowerPoint. You ready to jump in?
I'm absolutely ready to jump in, man. I'm almost want to say, I don't know why I'm off the hook. I was looking for a panel, man. I was hoping that some other people would join the panel.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna put it out there, and everybody watch. How many people we got watching? We got. Hey man, y'all gotta hit. First off, y'all gotta hit the share button. We just under 100. We need to at least get 150, 100, 200 people in here, right? Because y'all about to get blown away. I will say this though, for anyone who asks, why is there no one here to have the discussion? I reached out. All of the Lashawan Qadash, the experts, or those who know the language, I did reach out. There was one brother, he said when we open the phone lines, he's going to try and call in. Other than that, and that was the brother Ariala. He couldn't make it because he had something else going on, which is understandable. But for everybody else, I've been reaching out. Nobody wanted to. I think you intimidate people, brother. I think that's what it is. That's just my thought process. But I say that to say this: if we're gonna do something, if we're gonna live on something, stand 10 toes down on something, we should know how to defend it, or at least have a conversation about why we're doing it, even if we disagree. We need to at least know why we're doing it. So, with that being said, we will open the phone lines if y'all want to call in, if you got questions. If on a Clubhouse, if you got questions, we will bring individuals up one at a time to the stage. We will open the phone lines and we will take a phone call. This is how it's going to go, so it doesn't get long and drawn out. If you're calling or if you're on the Clubhouse, if you call in or on the Clubhouse, you have either one question or comment, make your comment or ask your question. And after you get your response, then you can follow up with another question or comment. And after that, we're going to get to the next person. Typically, sometimes we have the phone lines blocked up for 5 and 10 minutes and people can't get through. So, all right. So we're going to do it that way just to make sure we understand. When you call in or if you come up to the Clubhouse stage, one question or comment, then once you get your response, you could get a follow-up question or comment. Then after that, we're going to move to the next person. We want to make sure everybody get a chance to either call in or come to the stage if they want to. But we're going to go ahead and jump to the PowerPoint presentation. And we got it. So whatever you want to start, King, it's on you.
All right, excellent. So the first thing I want to say is this: where often we go wrong in the Israelite community is that we want to separate ourselves from everything that is European and that is specifically Jewish. And I don't have a problem with that. I'm actually an advocate of that to a certain extent and measure. I'll explain what that means in a couple of moments. But I also want to say this and get something for the record. Just as the European Jew is responsible in bulk for the preservation of our texts, none of us are printing texts. None of us are reproducing the books. Just as they have been safeguarding these works for years, and we are now coming back into our own identity and are reclaiming these things, I want to say to many of us that there's many more things that they have co-opted. I want to say stolen, that we have not reclaimed as yet because some of us still think it belongs to them. So on that note, I want to say, obviously, one of the greatest disagreements in our community is how the language is to be spoken. You have a group of Israelites that are proponents of what is called Lashawan Qadash. Lashawan Qadash is based on the One West premise of learning and understanding biblical Hebrew, and they're the ones that primarily champion it. There are many, many splinter groups that come from One West that continue that strain of thought. And I think where the lines become blurred or construed is where grammar, syntax, and morphology come into the conversation. So, what I mean by that is oftentimes when I encounter new Israelites, that when they hear me speak Hebrew, they say, "Oh, why you speak the Yiddish? You're so knowledgeable. Why you doing that? That ain't that the white man way of speaking Hebrew?
Mm,
You saying shalom. I just greeted you saying shalom, and you hit me back with shalom. What's that about?" And there was a time I used to get annoyed by that, but today I understand it, right? Because humility and growth, they should coincide. So as you grow, you get a little bit more humility. So in responding to people like that, I usually say to them, all right, who have you learned from? What have you learned? And did you ever take the time to study biblical Hebrew, going through textual criticism based on biblical Hebrew manuscripts? Have you ever sat under a teacher or group of teacher, a conglomerate of academians to learn the grammar, the syntax, the morphology, the structure of the language? Have you done that at all? Most people will say, "Oh, I learned it in the camp." And that's fine. I'm not saying that there aren't any camp teachers out there that may possess a good working knowledge of Hebrew. But I also ask the other question. Did you ever learn it in any recognized academic space? Like, did you learn it in college? Did you take it as a prerequisite at this particular institution? And when you start going in that direction, you start to find out that for a vast majority of our people, their knowledge of Hebrew is what they heard a teacher say on Instagram, Clubhouse, YouTube,
facts.
a book here and there, but nobody really sat under anyone to learn. So what's happening now is you have a lot of grossly unlearned people parroting other grossly unlearned people, to the extent now that the unlearned people are seen as the authority and the people who actually know the language are seen as the novice. You see the challenge here?
Facts. Facts. I definitely see it.
Right.
Facts.
So
Well,
there was a time I ridiculed that thinking,
hmm
but humility changes your position and your take.
yeah. Well, tonight, what we got, is the brother's about to break down the presentation. So it's not just conversation. It's just not believe me because I said so. One of the things he said to me was, I like to have things on display. I want to show, because a lot of us we gotta see it to believe it. It's just the way it is.
Right.
So what the brother's about to break down, if you got your pen, you got your pad, make sure you write the notes. Whether you agree or whether you disagree, it's still good to listen first. The Bible say that? Hear out the whole matter first.
Right.
So we're going to listen to everything that's being stated. And then from that point, once we're done, we're going to, again, open up the phone lines, open up the clubhouse, bring up to the stage one at a time, phone call one at a time, and ask your question or make your comment. All right. And let's take it from there. A good, nice, clean build. If you call in, remember, respect the guest. The guest is our guest. So, if you can't respect the guest, then we got to move you to the side and keep it pushing. All right. Son, welcome. Ready when you're ready.
All right. So tonight's presentation is entitled Yeshua, Yahusha, Yahawashai, and Hebrew Grammar. So my challenge this evening is to, in this short amount of time, an hour and a half, is to share with you guys the differences grammatically between Yeshua, Yahusha, Yahawashai, and prove to you emphatically why one of them is more grammatically correct than the others, especially as it pertains to the biblical meaning of these names. That's important. I'm also going to take the time to actually begin my discussion by differentiating biblical Hebrew from what we call Lashawan Qadash, based on what we know in academia. So with that, you could go to the very first slide. All right. So some people on social media claim that Hebrew and Yiddish are the same language. People often tell me, "Doc, why are you speaking the Yiddish?" When I present in class, my newer students will always come in saying, "Oh, I joined your Hebrew class. I was expecting to look at only the paleo, but you got the Yiddish up here." So here's where I want to begin. Some on social media claim Hebrew and Yiddish are the same language. However, Hebrew is a Semitic language like Arabic. Yiddish is a Germanic and Slavic language. Yiddish and Hebrew use the same alphabet. Yiddish and Hebrew share a few words but pronounce them differently. So if everyone looks to the right of the screen at the bottom, Yiddish uses the Hebrew alphabet to write words that are primarily German in origin, mixed with Slavic, Aramaic, and Hebrew elements. Although the script is Hebrew, the grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation of Yiddish are not Hebrew. They follow Germanic linguistic roots. Thus, Yiddish is a Germanic language written in Hebrew letters, not a form of Hebrew itself. To demonstrate that point, I have the scroll of Isaiah, Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 14 to be specific, from the Dead Sea Scrolls, as well as the Leningrad Codex, Masoretic text of Isaiah 34 and 14, just to compare the actual writing. This is key. We know that the Dead Sea Scrolls go back as early to 250 BC and come closer into history as late as 4 to 5 and even 600 CE or Common Era. I want everyone to just look and examine the script on the screen. Anyone that can read modern Hebrew can read the Dead Sea Scrolls because they are quite literally the same exact script. So anyone saying that the modern Hebrew or biblical Hebrew script is the Yiddish in terms of a script or writing system is grossly inaccurate, because Yiddish, number one, is about vernacular. It's not about orthography. It's not about writing. Yiddish is a dialect. It is not a script. In order to write Yiddish, you're going to use Hebrew letters. So for instance, on the bottom left of the screen, you have the Hebrew word for day, right? When I see my brothers, I might say something like Yom Tov, right? You having a good day, right? In Yiddish, that's completely different, because day in Hebrew is Yom, but in Yiddish, it's Tag. Now, if you look close, they're both using Hebrew alphabetic consonants, but clearly the language is different. Yom is how you say day in Hebrew, and Tag is how you say day in Yiddish. Similarly, Lila, my children, my wife, every night, as we're closing out the night, I look at them and I say Lila Tov. I do that with my class. Lila Tov, good night. The way to say night in Yiddish is not Lila. It's Nachat, Nechet. That's not Hebrew at all, not even close. There's no word in Hebrew for night, darkness, in between darkness, that would give you Nechet. That is completely foreign to Hebrew. So what I'm saying is, at this point, clearly many in our community are grossly misled when they simply look at this script that we're looking at on the right and they say that's the Yiddish. That automatically will tell any scholar, any academician, that you're not speaking to someone who understands or even took Biblical Hebrew 101. Because Yiddish, as far as academia is concerned, the scholarly consensus is concerned, is not a script. It's a language. It's something you speak. It is a dialect specifically, and it employs Hebrew. My last example is not on the screen, but I'll give it to you guys orally. When we want to write Spanish, right? You know that Spanish uses the English alphabet. And the only way that we would know that the words are Spanish is, first, we don't recognize the combination of letters. They don't make sense in English. Also, similar to Biblical Hebrew, when you're writing Spanish with English, you're going to see diacritical marks. So, when people are writing like the Spanish A, they have like that dash on it. You might see the dash on the I, you might see it on the E. Similar to Masoretic Hebrew, those are called diacritical marks. So diacritical marks that come out of Hebrew is borrowed and used in the Latin languages. That's why you see it manifest in Spanish. But clearly, Spanish is using the English alphabet. So similarly, Yiddish uses a Hebrew alphabetic system in order to express a Euro-Germanic language. So what I want to say with all humility, all grace, and more importantly, all love for our community, anyone saying still, especially if you're a leader or a teacher in Israel in 2025, to still be teaching people that this script is the Yiddish, to me, that's diabolical. I almost want to say it's insane. I really want to say it's insane.
Say it up. Say it. Oh man, that's good. All right, I'm listening. I'm behind you.
That's the first thing I wanted to get out the way. I definitely want to make sure that you and I are able to trade. So any sentiments that you have in between, certainly share them.
Yeah. So again, I'm not very strong when it comes to the Hebrew, and that's the same thing I was taught to. We come into what we know as the truth, then everything that's not the Lashawan Qadash is the Yiddish. Now, how you just broke down that there's a difference, like I'm looking at Yom and Tag, I'm literally looking at, when you see it side by side, it kind of makes all the difference in the world. Why I think having this PowerPoint, this presentation up here is very powerful to be able to see it. And with clarity, the way that was just explained, I would have to agree in 2025 to say that when we can literally see it side by side, it's like I relate to something I know, looking for two suspects, right?
Come on.
Easy one's work. Black, one's white. You know what I mean? It's like, I can see the difference here. All right. I know exactly who I'm looking for. So that makes a lot of sense. That was a fire breakdown.
A lot of sense. And then, just think about it again. Timelines matter. Chronology matters. The Dead Sea Scrolls date back to 250 BC. This one specifically is dated to about 100 Common Era. There is no Jewish people as regards history and even as regards the culture as taught by Israelites. There is no European Jew on the world scene in the 1st century Common Era. We know that's a fact. We know that their conversion to our way of life is in 740 CE, and they even mark it in their Jewish encyclopedia, by the way. So having said that, Yiddish as a vernacular is not even a thought, an idea, or an attestation until after the 7th and 8th century Common Era. Look at the Dead Sea Scroll, look at the Leningrad Codex. It's literally the same exact writing system. So again, calling this the Yiddish in 2025, that has to stop. With that, good brother, next slide.
Now, I could look at that wrong way. I could look at that, and even though I can't quite read the Hebrew like that, I can see that it's the same. Really quick, before you go into this next slide, hold on one second. Yason 9302, listen, we ain't talking about Gentiles and who gets salvation and who don't. This is not that conversation. If we got the mods, if anybody disrupts the conversation, put them on the timeout. We want to keep the focus right here. This is a powerful show that we're doing right now. Brothers giving a powerful presentation. We do not want to take from that. Let's keep the focus right here where it is. You got it, Ken.
All right, so what we're going to do is listen to about 3 minutes of a video. I might even stop it before and just go on to the next slide. The person that I'm interviewing, his name is Abud Kohen. He's the current grandson of the Samaritan high priest in Israel. So we know biblically there are people called the Samaritans that are brought into Israel during the Assyrian exile. They came into the land since the Assyrian exile until present day. They don't use, what is called Kitab Atshurit, which some people call the modern Hebrew script. They don't use that. They use Paleo-Hebrew. And they don't speak Hebrew the way that it is spoken today. They say they speak ancient Hebrew. So when I interviewed him, one of the things I said to him, because I happen to have already known this, I said to him, because I learned this in college. So I said to him, would you demonstrate for us, reading in Genesis, the difference between how biblical Hebrew sounds via the Masoretic pronunciation versus ancient Hebrew? So the Samaritan Jews as a people group, they certainly preserve ancient Hebrew because they did not buy into much of the ideology of the oral tradition. They don't follow the Masoretic texts. They don't follow rabbinic thought. They have their own traditions, and they only follow the first 5 books. They read other areas of Tanakh, but their foundation, they say, is in the first 5 books, and they only speak what they call the ancient Hebrew. So I said, how does that sound? So I want you to press play on this interview, and let's see how ancient Hebrew sounds, because in our community, we're taught that Lashawan Qadash is the ancient Hebrew. And ancient Hebrew has 2 sounds, ah and I. Divine Prospect is in the building. Dr. Divine Prospect, Dr. Ron Shields is in the building. I'm sure he would resonate when I say there's a lot of issues with that. Because to say that a language has 2 sounds, ah and I, is automatically problematic. Because when you join consonantal letters with vowels, there's a new sound produced which is called a diphthong. Lashawan Qadash has no room for what we call diphthongs. Diphthongs is where you join a consonantal letter with a vowel and an entirely new sound is created. It's the reason why when we take the letter chet in Hebrew and we join it with the yod and the av vowel that we have the word chai. That's a diphthong. Lashawan Qadash doesn't account for that. And what's very important about that, I hope this is not above people's pay grade, what's very important about that is that in biblical Hebrew, it's the combination of letters and pronunciation that dictates meaning. I'm going to say it again. In biblical Hebrew, it's a combination of letter placement and pronunciation that dictates the overall meaning, which means you could have the perfect spelling of a Hebrew word, but if you are not enunciating it properly, you literally just change the meaning. And I'll give about 2 or 3 examples. If we're following Lashawan Qadash, then the word for king is mala'ak. Okay. So how are we going to say angel? Because in Hebrew, they're spelled the same way. How are we going to say the god Molech? Because in Hebrew, they're spelled the same way. How are we going to talk about a messenger? You see, there are 3 ideas I just represented that are spelled exactly the same in biblical Hebrew, but each different pronunciation yielded a different meaning. Melech is how we say king. Malak is an angel. Molech is a god that the creator told us don't worship. So when you're reading a biblical Hebrew text following Lashawan Qadash, which one is it? Did we go up to anoint Molech to reign as king? Did we anoint the angel, or did we anoint David as a Melech? Which one is it?
Yee. Okay. Jeez. So it's gonna get ugly if we start digging down that hole, huh? Is what you're saying. Hey, Yashan, it's gonna get real ugly. Yashan, so my bad, King. Slakia, for that. He said he was answering the question. My fault. The crowd said great point. Let's hit play. You ready to hit play?
Absolutely. Please do. Thank you.
Let me just verify really quickly that the crowd can hear this. The chat, can y'all hear the video when I hit play? Please drop a 1 if y'all can hear it.
You might have.
You on mute.
My bad. My bad. You might have to pause it and bring it back. Apparently, a lot of people in the comment section are saying they can't hear it.
Oh, okay. I saw 1s at first. It went to. So I see some 1s and some 2s. Not sure why. All right, let me make a quick adjustment. All right, I'm gonna play this really quickly, and then I'll rewind it back. I just want to know if y'all can hear it. When I push play, just drop a 1 if you can hear the video. Can y'all hear that? Someone said I can hear it. I see a 1. I see 1. I see 1. I see 2s. Hey, whoever got 2s, y'all must got iPhones, brother. Like, cause I can hear it clear on my phone. I can hear it over here. You know what I mean? Some hear it, some can't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
It's playing on my my tablet. I don't know why people can't hear it. I can hear it on my tablet.
Yeah, I see 2s. Yeah, and I got it on my phone on this side too. So I'm not sure why y'all can't hear it. I'm gonna start it from the beginning. We're gonna play it. Just for those, if they can't hear it, I guess you can just recap it a little bit for those who can't quite hear. If you can't hear, you'll still get the understanding of what's being said, but we're going to go through it. I know some can, some can't. Just bear with us.
ואת הארץ. והארץ הייתה תוהו ובוהו וחושק על פני תהום ורוח אלוהים מרחפת על פני המים. Tell us how this would read, how it would sound with ancient Hebrew.
Yes. So in ancient Hebrew, in Samaritan Hebrew, it would sound like this. We say, Barashet bara eluim it eshamim with aris. Waris ayata te'u be'u. Washek alfani tum. Uru eluim emra efat alfani emmin.
That's very similar. That's strikingly similar. I mean, there are some differences, obviously. Like I'm noticing that the chait is not.
Sorry, one more second. I'm sorry. My apologies. Now they can hear it. I even now can hear it on my separate device. When it was playing, I actually realized that on my tablet, I couldn't hear it. That was my phone. It was coming through. So I couldn't hear it. But the people are able to hear it. If you could just take it back maybe 40 seconds alone where I start to read and then he starts to read so that the people can compare the difference between the two. I want to make sure everybody gets this.
Characters, it would sound like Bereshit bara.
That's perfect. That's perfect. That was it.
To be the Assyrian characters, right? So in reading these characters, it would sound like Bereshit bara Elohim et ha-shemayim ve et haaretz. Ve haaretz hayta tohu wavohu ve choshek al penei tehum ve ruach Elohim merachefet al penei hamayim. Tell us how this would read, how it would sound with ancient Hebrew.
Yes. So in ancient Hebrew, in Samaritan Hebrew, it would sound like this. We say, Barashet bara eluim it eshamim with aris. Waris ayata te'u be'u. Washek alfani tum. Uru eluim emra efat alfani emmin.
That's very similar. That's strikingly similar. I mean, there are some differences, obviously. Like I'm noticing that the chait is not pronounced when you said ruach, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I can understand what you're saying. So when a Samaritan Jew,
it's Hebrew.
That's right. When a Samaritan Israelite,
stop that there.
And
you can stop that right there. You heard all the vowels in ancient Hebrew? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was saying, and what you read did sound similar. Let me just ask this real quick. So the point that you were showing this video is because this guy actually is connected to a lineage that actually goes back. They haven't changed their traditions and they still go by the actual ancient Hebrew. And so the ancient Hebrew sounds strikingly similar to what we call biblical Hebrew.
That's right. I didn't just find any old Joe Schmo Samaritan Israelite or Samaritan Jew. But he doesn't identify as a Jew. Samaritans only use the term Israelite. The term Jew is more employed by those who follow Rabbinic Judaism, and the Samaritan Israelites, they reject that. So again, he is the grandson of the current, as in right now, the current Samaritan high priest in Israel. And his particular lineage has been there since from the beginning. Anyone can look him up online. He's Abud Kohen. You can find him on academia.edu. You can find him on YouTube. You know, you can see that he does museum tours in Israel. He takes people around the old city of where the Samaritans settled, and he does tours in that area. He shows them Mount Gerizim, which is in that vicinity, in the tribal area of Joseph. So he's definitely the real deal. And again, scholars acknowledge that one thing among many that makes the Samaritan people unique is that they have preserved how biblical Hebrew actually sounded, because they never went into exile like we did and picked up other dialects, other ways of speaking other languages. They never did that. So their foundational way of speaking Hebrew is as it was spoken in the land, and that we call ancient Hebrew. So again, when you heard him read, you heard the U, you heard the O, you heard the I, you heard the E, you heard every vowel sound represented in the Masoretic text. Something that Lashawan Qadash says doesn't belong to ancient or Paleo Hebrew. So now I'm going to take you with the next slide into historical attestations of Semitic languages that are considered even earlier than Hebrew, and they all have vowels. So let's get this work. Akkadian. One thing I don't play is with presentations, man. All praise to the Most High.
Definitely.
Akkadian cuneiform wrote full vowels. Source: John Hugengaard, a grammar.
Oh, you froze. Can you hear me? All right,
vowel,
so
vowel, consonant,
wait,
consonant,
hold on out.
consonant. By the way, anyone that knows Hebrew
Can you hear
grammar,
me?
that's the exact same structure of Hebrew grammar. Consonant, vowel, vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel,
Mic check.
consonant.
Can you hear me out?
I can hear you now, yes.
Can you start over? As soon as you started, you froze.
Oh, okay, no problem. So,
All right.
Akkadian cuneiform. The Akkadian people come on the world scene in 2300 BC. Timelines are important. The children of Israel are considered in history an Iron Age people. There's no attestation of a children of Israel earlier than 1400 BC, which is the Iron Age. The Akkadians still belong to what we're calling the Bronze Age, and they're a Semitic group of people, right? So they're related to us. They're our ancestors. In Akkadian cuneiform, they had full vowels, the same vowels that we're using in Hebrew. Source for this is John Hugenhard, A Grammar of Akkadian. Hugenhard states explicitly that Akkadian cuneiform uses syllabic signs that contain consonant plus vowel combinations, consonant vowel, vowel consonant, consonant vowel, consonant, which anyone that knows biblical Hebrew knows that that's the same structure. The vowels A, E, I, and U are directly written in the script of Akkadian. Akkadian, from a scholarly point of view, is said to have preceded both biblical Hebrew and Phoenician Hebrew. In fact, our language, according to scholars in academia, is said to stem from the older Semitic Akkadian language, if anyone that studies the history of languages in that region. Now, of course, I get into a debate about how accurate all of that is, but the scholarly consensus is that our language develops from an earlier Northwestern Semitic language, which is Akkadian. Akkadian has this complete vowel system that biblical Hebrew does. Next slide. Ugaritic. I'm hoping that the Israelite community would be familiar with the ancient city of Ugarit. There's a great deal of our history that's attested there. Ugaritic alphabetic cuneiform marked vowel qualities. Source: Cyrus Garden, Ugaritic textbook, pages 14 through 17. He states Ugaritic preserves 3 aleph letters, A, I, and U, representing vowel distinction. Ugaritic does not fully vowel mark, but it does explicitly indicate vowel classes, unlike Hebrew or Phoenician. So even though Ugaritic Hebrew does not represent the full expansion of Akkadian or Masoretic Hebrew, they still have some very significant markers in terms of the A, the I, and the U sounds. Next slide.
And so, you know, 'cause I'm a student and I'm definitely learning right now. So quick question. You're basically showing when people say, hey, the vowel sounds were added later, you're going
now in a place called Akkad, or what is called the Akkadian people, right? So that fertile crescent that connects the Levant to Mesopotamia is literally the route of travel that our ancestors migrated and traveled in order to come to that region. So when you go back, right, or when you reverse engineer the walking or the route of our ancestors, you actually get to see that we do have our origin in Israel. But again, when it comes to Semitic languages, I'm going to show you the oldest Semitic languages and how they all have our vowel systems that we're using today. This is not the Yiddish saying A, E, I, O, and U. It's not English, or it's not European. I've heard, and I'm not going to say names because I've grown in my journey to really love my Israelite brothers and sisters, right? On a really, really genuine level. There was a time where I called names and, you know, made fun and, you know, took shots, but at some point you got to grow. 3 weeks ago, I just celebrated my 46th birthday. I'm 4 years from 50. I'm not supposed to behave like everybody else. At my age, I get to decide whether or not I want to show up to the clown show. People can send invites all they want, but it's my decision whether I show up or not. And I've decided I'm no longer showing up to that. So even the way I'm sharing the information, I'm not doing it from a space of trying to make our community look bad, but I'm sincerely and genuinely doing it so our community can catch up and really grow. Where things are going to go now is really interesting because we actually have Israelite artifacts, Hebraic artifacts that attest to vocalization. So, for instance, the Kerbet Keyafa Ostracon, dated to 1950 BCE, often associated with the early kingdom of Judah, the time of David and Solomon. This ostracon shows that the letter Wav is used to mark an O and U vowel. You know how we're saying Yehoshua? You know how we're using in Hebrew what we call either the vowel kolam or the vowel shuruk, right? Those two vowel markers and those two vowel signs are deciphered and found on Hebraic artifacts. So this ostracon shows that we did in fact use the Hebrew letter Wav to produce the O and U sounds, the same sounds we see in the Masoretic text. Also, the Yod possibly marking I and E vowels, although that part is heavily debated. Several scholars, Garfinkel, Miskov, identify probable matres, right? Mother of the tongue, matres lectionis. So with the exception of the letter of Yod being questionable as producing the I and E, the scholarly consensus is that this particular relief demonstrates that the Hebrew letter Wav can in fact produce the O and U sounds. Next slide.
Hey, real quick, if you're trying to read the smaller print, just remember on your phones, you can use those two fingers and make it bigger. Well, you talking about maturing, man. I was finna hit my shots fired, but I can't even do that now since you don't gave that speech. I got to keep going.
All right.
Let's see. They keep going backwards on me. There we go.
All right. Here's another one. The Mesha Stela, dated to, or the Moabite stone, dated to 840 BCE. The Moabite is a Canaanite sister language to Hebrew, and it uses the letter Wav for O and U. The Moabite people are in the land of Israel around the same time as us. Remember their lineage, they stem from Lot. And they're using the Hebrew letter Wav to produce both the O and U sounds, both of which you find in biblical Hebrew. The letter He, when it's added as a final letter, it's used to denote the A suffix. That's a critical marker of biblical Hebrew as well. The Moabite stele or the Mesha stele also uses and shows that the letter Yod is used for I. Because Moabite and Hebrew share the same script and orthographic traditions, this confirms that Hebrew would have used them at the same time or even earlier. So that means based on this alone, biblical Hebrew was already using A, E, I, O, and U by 1000 BCE, which is the time of David. I think we all would call that ancient Hebrew, right? I don't think David was speaking Yiddish.
I mean, at this point, hold on, let me take a quick pause. At this point, whether you agree or disagree, drop a 1 in the chat if there's a plethora amount of evidence showing maybe what we thought is not accurate. Drop a 1 if you think that. Drop a 2 if you still say, nah, it's the Lashawan and Zion is tripping. I'm curious to see this. I'm just curious. Because what I'm looking at is crazy. It's crazy right now. Let me see. We got 151 people watching. Get some response. Let me get some response. Oh, there we go. I must got a delay on my end. Somebody dropped the Hebrew one. All I see is ones. All I see is ones. God. All right. Next slide or?
Yes, absolutely. Next slide.
This is crazy.
The Salome inscription, dated to 715 BCE, found inside King Hezekiah's tunnel, also shows that the letter Wav is also used to produce O and U. The letter Yod is also used to produce I. The letter He is used as a matir for final vowels, just like you see in biblical Hebrew. So again, at this point, what's important to note or highlight is that As early as 1000 BCE, we already see that biblical Hebrew is already being utilized among ancient speakers of Hebrew. So that means anyone saying that biblical Hebrew did not have an A, to me, did not have an E, an O, or a U is grossly inaccurate. The languages that help Hebrew to evolve, Akkadian, Ugaritic, all represent A, I, E, O, and U. We have inscriptions that starts from 1000 BC all the way down to about 500, 400 BCE that are also showing A, I, E, O, and U. Hence why I'm showing the artifacts. Next slide.
So real quick, let me ask you a question. I know we said an hour or whatever. If we gotta go a little bit longer, listen. So, and you may have said this, and maybe I'm full to the brim at this point. Then where does the idea come from? I get the Yiddish conversation, but where does the idea come from that the ancient tongue does not have any of the vowels? Like
One West Hebrew. There's no attestation outside of One West that says that. There's no scholar, there's no historian of the Hebrew language that ever went on record to agree with One West Hebrew. One West Hebrew is a phenomenon. It only exists among One West and its splinter groups. You don't find it in academia. You don't find, all right, let me do it this way. If you don't mind, just take the PowerPoint down for a moment. Let me do it this way. One of the scholarly methods employed in order to ascertain truth is to compare and contrast, right? So when you look at Yemenite Jews or Yemenite Israelites, the region and locale of Yemen is literally a football throw from Ethiopia. The people of Yemen look entirely like the people of Ethiopia, and there's a strong relationship between the two. During ancient times, the region of Yemen was considered part of Ethiopia. Why am I harping on this right now? When you talk to Yemenite Yehudim, Yemenite Jews, and Yemenite Israelites, listen to how they're speaking the language. They were never colonized. They were never sent into exile. And when they speak the language, they have A, E, I, O, and U. The only difference is they would pronounce letters in a way that biblical Hebrew does, but rarely. So for instance, I'm going to use this opportunity to really give your community a gem. 99.9% of Israelites will teach that the letter J is 500 years old. I would ask for more context or clarity. Are people saying that the Latin letter J, the English letter J, because the J sound is certainly not 500 years old. Let's just, get that out the way. I'll give it to you in a number of ways. When you open up the Quran, you see that the angel that we call Gabriel, they call Jibril. So that means the closest attestation to our era in terms of religious literature that has the J sound among a Semitic group is the Quran, where they're using the J sound to represent the angel that we call Gabriel. I'm of the thought, the opinion, and the thinking that Hebrew is the basis of all languages, and that all languages have their root, stem, and branch in Hebrew. I'm gonna say it again. I'm of the thinking that biblical Hebrew is the basis of all languages, and all languages have their root, branch, and stem in Hebrew. Why is that important? In English, the letter G can produce a J sound. But where did that come from? Hebrew is the origin of all languages. So similarly, in English, when you join P and H, you create an F sound, like Russell Simmons' clothing brand, Fat Farm. Like when you want to write physical, you spell it PH. That's purely biblical Hebrew. Because the same letter that gives you P is the same letter that gives you F in biblical Hebrew. But that also is not accounted for in Lashawan Qadash. They don't have an F. But even in Akkadian language, you find an F. In Ugaritic, you find an F. In other Semitic Asiatic languages, you find an F. Now I'll give it to you with the Gimel. The third letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Gimel. In Lashawan Qadash, they would say Gamal. This letter can be used to represent the J. For instance, if anyone was to go on Google right now and type in Jamaica in Hebrew, you'll notice that the Hebrew letter Gimel is being used. Very interesting. To mark that, the Masoretic scribes put a dot in the Gimel in various places in the text to show you that the letter Gimel always had two sounds, a hard and a soft sound. The hard sound is the G and the softer sound is the J. So even in biblical Hebrew, we did in fact have a J sound. It's just rarely used. The omission of it or the rarity of it does not attest to the non-existence of it. In biblical Hebrew, the J sound is not rampant. It's not all throughout the text, but it does exist in the actual text. And I can actually show the key places where it does actually exist. So on that note, I'm going to also say this. If you go to 3200 BC, there's a lowercase God in Egypt called Jehuti. He's represented on an inscription in ancient Egypt dated to 3200 BC. So I have a question. How in the hell is the letter J 500 years old when it's in the Quran, 690 Common Era? When we can see it in the Masoretic text dotted? When we can go to Yemenite Jews who were never colonized, never exiled, and they literally use the J sound for every pronunciation of the letter Gimel. Similarly, you go into ancient Egypt and you find a netter called Jehuti. Again, that's a J sound. So again, I'm of the thinking Hebrew is the basis of all languages. All languages have their root, branch, and stem in Hebrew. So when you see languages behave in a way that doesn't agree with the element and structure of that language, it is more than probable that that's coming from another language. So for instance, that feature in English that joining P and H produces the F, that's not foundational to the English language. That's a lone idea and concept because English is based on the Latin language, which is based on Phoenician Hebrew. So that idea of joining P and H, which in Hebrew is the letter Pe, becoming F completely comes out of Hebrew. Should I go on? Next slide.
Nah, I think the show over. I think the show is over at this point. Oh, man. So, wait, before we go to the next slide, I was going to ask you this real quick. You mentioned Egypt. I missed that part. You said something about something inscribed in Egypt. Can you say it again?
Right. So there's an inscription in pre-dynastic Egypt related to a netter, a lowercase God, a god in Egypt. I'm saying lowercase God because we don't consider them gods, right? So in Egypt, there's a god, lowercase God, called Jehuti, right? Spelled in English, Juhutiy, Jehuti. That's the J sound. And it's represented in 3200 BC. I do museum tours here at the Met Museum in New York City. When you go into the Old Kingdom period of Egypt and you look at the vases from that period, you can literally see the Jehuti symbol all around them. And you even see the beginning traces of them spelling it out with the enunciation Jehuti. So clearly J is not 500 years old. Again, we're off the rocker. Now, I'm not using that to even remotely suggest that letters in Hebrew that we pronounce with a Y that we should now be saying J. I'm not doing that. Absolutely not. But I still need us to know that J is a part of Hebrew. In fact, if we are really tapped in with our culture, our tradition, and the history of our language, then we would know this. There could be nothing represented in any foreign language that we shouldn't find elements of in Hebrew, because Hebrew is the basis of all language. So anything happening in a foreign language, we should be able to see its root, branch, and stem in biblical Hebrew. There's no foreign language that you're going to take me to where I can't show you that there's Hebrew right there. So that, again, that feature in English that the letter G can produce a J sound, that's literally coming from Hebrew because the letter Gimel has two sounds, G and J. That feature in English of taking P and H and it forming an F is literally biblical Hebrew, because when you do that, you're talking about the letters Pe and the letter Fe, which is all the same consonantal letter in biblical Hebrew.
So here's what we're talking about tonight. So when we start off with the vowel sounds, we're talking about now the letter J sound, and we're talking about what's actually the ancient Hebrew and what's not. The brother literally just went back. How many years? I mean,
3200 BC. So that's about what, 6,000 years, 5,800 years.
If these are not gems, you know what I mean? If these ain't gems, I don't know what is. At this point, how can you say, well, it's not there if we can go back and find it in antiquity? Hey, I'm at a loss of words. Hey, listen, hopefully those of you watching, we about to open up the phone lines here shortly for questions. Also in the clubhouse, make sure you get your questions together. Make sure you write them down so you don't forget them. I'm getting text messages saying I got questions, so we're gonna open up the phone lines here shortly. So definitely, I'm excited about it. I'm learning. My tire just got flat because if you ask me, Zion, when was the letter J created? I was gonna tell you 500 years ago. I was gonna say that because that's information I didn't know, but you know, it's about growth. It's definitely about growth, man.
It's definitely about growth.
Yeah, definitely. Was this a slide or we're going to the next one?
Yeah, this is definitely a slide. And this slide is important because now we're dealing with Phoenician Hebrew. So scholars believe that the Hebrew language has its foundation with Phoenician speakers in the Levant, in the land of Israel. And this particular aspect of Hebrew is referred to as Phoenician Hebrew. So watch where this becomes interesting. Phoenician Hebrew dates to the 11th and 9th century BCE, right? So we're still in the Iron Age. There's no European Jew in the world scene yet. We're talking about the Canaanites living in the land of Israel. So listen to the sounds that the Canaanites made. Earliest clear use of matres, which is short for matres lectionis, mother of the tongue, or all of the vocalization that we're giving the language, in the Northwest Semitic world, Phoenician inscriptions demonstrate the earliest unambiguous matres lectionis. Primary matres is the letter Wav used again for U and O. Yod, this time among the Canaanites, used exactly the way you find in biblical Hebrew for I and E. That's why Abud Kohen used the same exact vowels as me. The letter Hey, the final Hey used at the end of a word to produce the vowel A, is also a primary feature in Phoenician Hebrew. The earliest examples are attested in what's called the Acherum sarcophagus, dated to 1000 BCE, early but inconsistent. Byblos inscriptions, 10th through the 9th century BCE, which are clearer usages, and the Nora stone, which is 9th century BCE or CE, CE, fully functional Wav Yod Matres. A book that you can look at is a Phoenician Punic Grammar by Charles R. Kormakolov. Next slide.
Hey, in the chat, Gino, hey, get him out of here. Listen, we don't need that right now. Hey, mods, get Gino out of here.
Of course. I mean, if he's going to write liars, including me, that's crazy.
I don't even know what he's talking about right now. Something's wrong with
him. We
brother.
just said he's a liar.
Good Lord.
Phoenician innovation standardized the use of Wav and Yod for long vowels before Hebrew fully did. I'm not sure which version of my PowerPoint you have. I could have swore I took that out. That's okay. We can still use it, but I did definitely update it. All right, that's fine. We're going to continue as it was. I don't want to disrupt the flow of the show. And plus, I can't control the controls, and I don't want to make this too hectic. Phoenician innovation, Phoenician standardized use of the Wav and Yod for long vowels even before Hebrew fully did. So we even see again among the Phoenician Canaanites in the land of Israel around the Iron Age period that they're using the standardized vocalization system that we find among the Masoretic texts. Clearly, my good brother, this is not Yiddish. Even the Canaanites used its vernacular of Hebrew. Next slide.
Uh-oh.
This is what people came for, right?
Uh-oh.
This is what people came for, right? So I'm going to go in order of rank and file. I'm going to first deal with the term Yahusha. Then I'm going to deal with the term Yahawashai. And I'm going to close with the term Yeshua. I'm going to explain all terms using biblical Hebrew grammar. And then I'm going to show scholarly attestations as to why two of them are grammatically incorrect and actually take you away from the meaning. So most of you know that over the years, in the last 7, now almost 8 years, I've actually changed my views and opinions. My community that I come from doesn't fully accept and embrace me as they once did, because I now accept Yeshua as the Messiah. And I now accept the full breadth of the scripture as scripture, both Old and New Testament. So I say that to say that on this particular topic, things become real interesting, because not only am I armed with looking at things from my Old Testament way, but now with me understanding the New Testament in very dynamic ways. In the Israelite community, there are three dominant pronunciations for the name of the Messiah, so to speak. And one of them most people don't use, and that's Yeshua. The predominant pronunciations for who the Messiah is, you're going to hear Israelites either say, and in rank, Yahawashai. I think that's the number one name that the consensus conglomerate of Israelites are using. And then after that, you have people using Yahusha. I'm here to tell you, but more importantly, demonstrate. Scholars have a saying, demonstration beats conversation. Right?
Facts.
Anybody can go on a show and say, this is wrong, that's wrong. Okay, demonstrate it. And then find lots of stations that agree with your point. That's how scholarship works. So we'll first deal with the term Yahusha. Next slide. And here's the thinking. I want to say on social media. Social media Israelites follow this logic. The Hebrew letter Dalet, it means door. Yehuda is the door to his name. The tribe of Judah, Yahudah. This pronunciation for the tribe of Judah is what Israelites are using as their basis for why the creator's name is Yahuwah. I'm almost at a loss for words as to why that is entirely grammatically incorrect. Hebrew has an entirely different set of rules when the name of the creator is employed in grammar. If you're not studying Hebrew, you wouldn't even know that. So yes, to a novice, looking at the spelling of Judah in Hebrew, Yahudah, you just take away the D and you say that's the creator's name, right? We solved the puzzle. We know how to pronounce his name. It must be Yahuwah. Yeah, to a novice, anyone studying Hebrew grammar knows that the grammar shifts phenomenally when it comes to what's called theophoric names, which are names that include the creator's name as a prefix or suffix, and the creator's name in general. It doesn't always follow the same set of rules of grammar as everything else. So you can't apply the logic because the name Judah is pronounced like this in Hebrew, and Judah just has one more letter than the creator's name, then the pronunciation of the creator's name is da-da-da-da, it's solved, it must be Yahuwah. That's only makes sense to somebody that never sat there behind the class and actually learned from people. I'm essentially trying to say most of our thinking is lazy scholarship and parroting. Very few people are doing the work. So now we'll go on to the work. This claim is incorrect because it ignores real Hebrew grammar. Yehuda contains the Dalet as an essential consonant of its root, Yod, He, Dalet, not a symbolic door. So removing it does not produce the divine name, but only a non-Hebrew letter sequence. The Tetragrammaton, the four-letter name, is an independent name built from the verb to be. In Hebrew, those are three verb forms. Haya, Howe, Yeh. He was, who is, who shall be. The Tetragrammaton, the creator's name, is born out of a combination of the past, present, and future tense of the verb to exist, Haya. This is why we say of him, he's the eternal one, because he's the past, the present, and the future. Haya, Howe, Yeh. He was, who is, who shall be. When you start playing with Hebrew in a way that social media Israelites do, it takes away completely from these meanings. Because remember something I said earlier. A Hebrew word finds its meaning from the combination of how it's spelled, but more importantly, how it's pronounced. You change the pronunciation, you literally just alter the meaning. I'll give you another example. You have the letter Aleph. What is Aleph as an actual word? It means to teach. No, it means the strength of the ox. What you talking about, right? That's what every Israelite says, right? You look at the pictographic Hebrew and you got the ox. And when I see people do that, I automatically know they ain't never sat in no Hebrew class.
Facts.
They just doing lookership and parroting. Because although the letter Aleph in its plural form can be found in a good number of places in the Bible to refer to an ox. That's not the dominant term used for ox in Hebrew. Any Hebrew speaker and anyone that reads biblical Hebrew, anyone that ever read the Bible in Hebrew knows the dominant way to describe an ox in Hebrew is to call it shor. Spell shin, wav, resh. Completely different letter sequence. Completely different letters. Completely different letters. That's the dominant term in Hebrew in the Bible to describe an ox. So that means looking at an ox, you wouldn't automatically use the term aleph. You would use the term shor. That's one idea to the side. Secondly, I also want to add this. Open up the book of Job. Go to chapter 33. Go to verse 33. Job is having a dialogue with the youngest of his peers. His name is Elihu. Elihu at one point says to Job, he opens his discourse and he says, listen to me and I will speak to you wisdom. In Hebrew, he said, We a alephcha chokmah. We a aleph ha. Aleph, teach, ha, you. Listen to me as we a alephcha. I will teach you. Look at the word for teach. Aleph. That's what aleph means. Not the strength of the ox. It means to teach. That's the dominant feature all throughout the Hebrew Bible for the letter and word aleph. So that's very remarkable. Now I want to also add a very, very significant point now. In spelling out these roots and these features, you see something. Aleph means to teach. Change the pronunciation. Aluf is a master teacher. Don't believe me? Open up the book of Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 4, where Jeremiah says of the Creator, you are the aluf of my youth. You are the aluf of my youth. Jeremiah chapter 3 and 4. With a different pronunciation, pronouncing it aluf, he's now referring to the Creator as his master teacher and as his guide. All he did was shift the pronunciation. That's why I say, some people say, Ak, does it really matter? You know, we know you the big Ak, you've been around a long time, Zion, we know your history, but everybody, you know, might not have been around that long, but check this out, Zion, we all trying. It doesn't matter if, you know, one group is saying shalom, another group is saying shalom, and I have to stop you based on experience and tell you, good brother, it does matter. And if you have something that the Bible puts respect on, humility, you would receive correction and edification. The problem in the Israelite community is we're so pompous, we're so ego-driven, and we're so arrogant that nobody could tell us we're wrong unless we find out for ourselves in private and secret.
Facts. Facts.
Hey,
I ain't got my bomb right now. I need to drop a bomb right there. Actually, I need to drop like several bombs all through the show, but that's one I really need to drop one on because that's what you're right. I literally was just having that conversation with my wife. Like, we can't be corrected. That's a problem. But we getting a lot of correction tonight. But go ahead. I didn't mean chime in.
That's a problem. So again, the verb to be, not extracted from other words, and Hebrew manuscripts never record forms like Yahuwah or Yahuwah. The graphic is therefore wordplay in English, not actual Hebrew morphology, phonology, or textual history. There's no attestation that would agree with Yahuwah as a pronunciation, and especially the argument that, well, Yahudah is pronounced as such, and it only has one more letter than the Creator's name, so of course the Creator's name is Yahuwah. I want you to really listen to that, good brother B, and I want you to ask yourself a question, right? Without even mastering Hebrew, I'm pretty sure you know enough to know that couldn't be a scholarly presentation.
No.
That someone would actually tell you, oh, because Yahudah is pronounced and spelled that way, it has one more letter than the Creator's name, then clearly no Hebrew scholar would do that. No Arabic scholar would do that. No English scholar would do that. They'll go into the grammar and show you why it's that. They'll go into the morphology and show you why it's that. They'll break down the intricate parts of the grammar so you can know and understand that this means that. Not the strength of the ox and the D. They ain't doing that. Next slide.
Facts. Man.
Yahusha is grammatically incorrect because neither Hebrew spelling of Jesus' name in Hebrew Yeshua, people say Yeshua is Yiddish. Okay. But it's recorded in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 8, verse 17. You find it on every single Hebrew manuscript. So the same Bible we say we accept, I have to let everybody know, it was written originally in Hebrew, right? We're talking about the Old Testament right now. Well, when the Old Testament went to write the name Jesus, they spelled it in Hebrew, Yeshua. You find that spelling in Nehemiah chapter 8 and 17. Similarly, the name Joshua, pronounced in Hebrew, Yehoshua. You go to Numbers 11:28, and that's the same exact way it's spelled. It contains the letters or vowel patterns required to produce Yahu or Shah. The form Yahusha, in order for that to be accurate, it would require the letter He after the Yod and a Shin or Shah syllable. Yet the spelling of Yeshua in every single Hebrew manuscript has no He. And the Shin is vocalized as Shu, not Shah. Changing the Shu to Shah alters not only the verb pattern, but you're now going to produce a meaning that's not even supported by the Hebrew root. Meaning it's no longer going to mean Yah shall save. Doesn't the New Testament say in Matthew 1 and 21 that he was given this name because he shall save his people? What people don't understand when they start making up things, when you start saying Yahusha, that's fine, say it. I'm not going to stop nobody from saying it. But here's what I'll stop you from doing, and I'll prove it to you. I'll stop you from saying that means Yah shall save, because that's not biblical Hebrew at all. That's not Hebrew grammar. You change that root, you change that pronunciation, you have altered its meaning. You saying something completely different, homeboy. To pronounce Yahusha, one must add letters, change vowels, and break the Hebrew morphology, creating a form that does not exist in any Hebrew manuscript. This is above me. This ain't about me. Go look at the manuscripts. None of them agree with what y'all saying. And cannot carry the meaning of either Yehoshua or Yeshua. Yahusha cannot carry the meaning of Yehoshua or Yeshua, which both mean Yah shall save. In biblical Hebrew, accurate meaning comes only from the combination of correct spelling and correct pronunciation. Altering either one changes the grammar and therefore changes the meaning. Next slide, good brother.
Man, so what you're saying is I shouldn't say Yahusha.
Oh, I'm gonna show you every which way of Sunday in a couple moments why nobody should be saying this after tonight's presentation. I could literally say this with all humility, right? If a person was to study through this presentation honestly and sit with people that really know the language, there's no way you'd be saying Yahweh Shai after tonight. There's no way you'd be saying Yahusha after tonight and being honest. But that also is a problem among us in our community.
Yes,
There's not too much honest scholarship, because honest scholarship means at times I have to admit that I'm wrong. And, I can't do that because the people look up to me. Even though you could go to Zion Lex's channel where I have a video addressing Ron Shields and I say I was wrong. You were right. I debated you, Divine Prospect, at my temple on the idea of whether or not Yeshua is the Messiah. And I was, beating the war drum saying I beat you, I beat Hashar, I beat Danielle. I was right. I won the debate, which wasn't even a debate. Only to find out years later, I agree with y'all. Yeshua is the Messiah, and what?
Man,
and what?
Facts. Hey, y'all need to drop some fire emojis for that. I ain't got my bombs.
And I triple-double dare Old Testament scholar or teacher jump out the window and have that talk with me on that too.
Jeez. Hey, we should have set that one up.
You see, the beautiful thing about humility, it allows for change.
Mm-hmm.
Humility teaches you that ain't no I in we, and ain't no man above the team. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, because at the end of the day, who the hell am I? Who am I?
Facts.
If I stop, this don't stop, the creator rises up the next one. Me being wrong, okay, I'm just wrong, but I could be wrong now, but I could be right tomorrow, just like we all were when we picked up our identity and surnamed ourselves Israel. We was wrong in Christianity. We was wrong when we was caught up in Islam, but we found our way to the truth, right? problem is when Israelites find their way to the truth, they think that search stops there. I know everything now. Yeah, right.
That's facts right there.
So
that's facts.
Yahusha is an incorrect pronunciation because it violates every principle of biblical Hebrew grammar that governs the name Yeshua and its older form Yehoshua. I'm going to get a little technical with these slides now, so I need everybody to really pay attention. The prefix Yeho, used in every theophoric name beginning with a divine name, never becomes Yahu. The prefix at the beginning of a name, only at the end. For example, Isaiah is called in Hebrew Yeshayahu. Elijah is called in Hebrew Eliyahu. You only find Yahu as a suffix in Hebrew when you're speaking of theophoric names, names that include a title or epithet of the creator. You never find a full vowel expansion at the beginning of a Hebrew name because that defies everything about Semitic languages. Semitic languages, when we want to expand and construct words, you find a vowel lengthening at the end, especially when it pertains to theophoric names. And you find a vowel shortening in the beginning. So when a Hebrew theophoric name, again, a theophoric name is a name that has a static verb or static clause, right? Describing a state or condition like the salvation of Yah. Any Hebrew name of such that's a prefix, that prefix is going to begin one of two ways, Yeho or Yo. So for instance, we have a prophet in the Bible that's called Yoel as a prefix. And we also have Joshua who is called Yehoshua. That Yahoo part can only exist at the end because it's at the end of Hebrew words that we allow for vowel expansion, not at the beginning. That goes against every rule of Hebrew grammar when you do so. Because as a rule of thumb in Hebrew grammar, whenever you add, you have to shorten. So when Hebrew words go through conjugation, when they go through states of construction, and you're adding to make plural, you have to shorten pronunciation, or you have to lengthen pronunciation. Anytime you add, you have to shorten. So you don't find the expanded form of vowels at the beginning. So Yahoo at the beginning was automatically wrong. Anybody that knows biblical Hebrew automatically knows somebody don't know Hebrew saying Yahusha, because you'd never find that form at the beginning. You'd only find it at the end. Yeho is fine. Yoel is fine because that's a shortening of it. And Hebrew grammar allows for that. But a full vowel expansion could never happen at the beginning. There's no attestation of that in any manuscript. There's no scholar speaking of that. So anybody doing that is the D and Yahuwah and, the strength of the ox. They're not studying Hebrew.
That's crazy. Let me pause you real quick. So for those who don't know, and it's right there on the screen as well, we have the Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. All right. The Learn Torah Hebrew Academy. Now, is this something that you go through in there? Was that like a later, you start getting into this later on, or is it maybe more the basics?
So I have a biblical Hebrew class that happens every Monday, and we get thorough. We have a biblical Hebrew 101 course, and I also have a biblical Hebrew 102 course. Right now, our 102 course has not started back up yet, but we're still functioning with our 101, which is our beginner's entry. But anybody that has taken my class, that's a beginner's class, that had already taken Hebrew, they always say they feel like they're in an advanced class. Because most people that are teaching beginners Hebrew are not going as far as I am. So yeah, we do have a biblical Hebrew class. You can find us at patreon.com/Learn Torah.
Definitely. Well, I think you're going to get some more students after tonight. Got to. Guess what? Because we can't say, I wish I no more. No, messed it up.
I'm going to get heavy into demonstrating that in a couple of moments. And I'm going to speed up because I want to take some calls from your listeners. I want to engage with the community.
Okay.
Right? Because again, and I do want to say this, I hope I'm not long-winded. This is not about me. This is not about I. This is about us. If our community does not do things right now to get to the next level, we're not going nowhere, period. People expecting that the Messiah is going to come and save us, we have to be ready to be saved. We're not even hearing enough about our culture, our history, and our language to sit down and really learn it. What is he coming to save? A people that have no self-esteem? What is he coming to save? A people who are finished from the start? What is he coming to save? Let me tell you something right now. My teacher always told us, when we go back to the land, we're not going back to practice. We got to get it right here in the wilderness. So sign up for a class somewhere and really learn. Don't be talking about the strength of the ox and the deep. Crazy.
Facts. All right, well,
all right.
We about to, so again, make sure y'all get y'all questions together. We're about to wrap it, and then we're going to open the phone lines. But you got it up.
I'm going to read through this as fast as I can. Yahushua is an incorrect pronunciation because it violates every principle of biblical Hebrew grammar that governs the name Yeshua and its older form, Yehoshua. The prefix Yeho, used in every theophoric name beginning with a divine name, never becomes Yahu at the beginning of a name. Only at the end. Example, Yeshayahu, Isaiah, Eliyahu, Elijah. And the reduction of Yeho follows a well-attested contraction pattern in Hebrew that produces Ye or Yi, as in Yeshua, Yohanatan, Yoel, not Yahu. Moreover, the final syllable Shah in Yahusha confuses two separate Hebrew forms. The Shua ending of Yehoshua, which comes from the root Yod Shin Ayin, which literally means to save, and the completely different root Shah ending found in the unrelated name Hosea, two distinct morphological patterns that cannot be merged. Because Yahusha breaks the actual root letters, contradicts the normal prefix behavior of the divine name in Hebrew onomastics, and has zero attestation in the Masoretic texts, the Dead Sea Scrolls, inscriptions, or even older Aramaic sources, it is linguistically impossible as a Hebrew name, the term Yahusha, and entirely foreign to the historical forms which Yeshua derives. Next slide. And I'll give more examples. Furthermore, in biblical Hebrew, theophoric names, Yahu appears only as a suffix when added at the end. We'll see 1 Kings 17:1. We don't call Elijah Yahuel. We call him Eliyahu. There's a name that is used today by a prime minister in Israel that it originates in the Bible. We don't call that person Yahu Netan. We call him Netanyahu. The term Yeho, as in Yehonatan, is in 1 Samuel 14:6. Yehodiah, 2 Kings 12:2. Yehoshua, Numbers 13:8, 16. I can go on. In biblical Hebrew, in every manuscript, in all attested literature of the language, you never find the form Yahu in the beginning. It's always at the end. That's how Semitic languages work. This is because Hebrew grammar preserves the divine element Yahu consistently. Yeho marks the beginning of a verbal theophoric name because it gives the sentiment of Yah does, while Yahu marks the end of a nominal theophoric name, which says is of Yah. Thus, placing Yahu at the front violates established Hebrew naming patterns and produces a form which is unattested in scripture or Hebrew linguistics. Y'all just making stuff up. Next slide.
Uh-oh.
I have patience with this one. If I have to admit, if there's a pronunciation that is like somebody taking their fingers and running it on the blackboard, the chalkboard, we all know what that sounds like, is when I hear an Israelite say Yahweh Shai. And with all due respect, I'm more hurt, more grieved, more perplexed when I hear Israelite leaders and teachers doing that in 2025. And some of these people are friends of mine that I really love and respect. But at a certain point, if I can update information, if I can do videos and tell the community I was wrong about Yahusha and Yeshua, if I can come out and say I was wrong about who the Messiah is, why can't a lot of these teachers come out and say they never learned Hebrew? Why can't a lot of them say that even the Lashawan Qadash, they say they know? If we pull out a script of it right now, they can't even read it. You know how many leaders and teachers in the Israelite community today that told me, oh, Zion, I respect you, but, I don't really do with the modern Hebrew. I do with the Paleo. I go, you do? They go, yeah. And I say something most people don't know. My school taught the Paleo. Paleo Hebrew is on the cover of our billboard. Paleo Hebrew was inside. That's the first form of Hebrew I know. People think because they see me reading the biblical or modern Hebrew that I don't know the Paleo. I'm bad as hell in the Paleo. So what do I say to Israelites when they tell me they only know the Paleo? Can you read it? Because I actually happen to have a Paleo Tanakh. And when you pull it out, they can't make it past 2-3 words. Meanwhile, I'm on the 5th chapter. So what I'm saying is a lot of us are just lying.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. People that tell you they only mess with Lashawan Qadash, pull out a text of Lashawan Qadash, ask them to read it. And the few that can seemingly get past it, ask them to translate as they read it.
Can't do it.
Tell us what it's saying. Can't do it. Most can't read it, and the rest can't read and translate.
Okay. And the sad part is this is facts. This is almost why when I was requesting for different brothers, and I know a couple brothers because schedule-wise I couldn't make it, but this is why almost everybody I went to did not want to have the conversation. We have to know what we actually, if we're practicing it, we're living it, we should know why we're practicing it. Why are we living it? You know what I mean? And if you're doing that, and if brothers know you're going to ask them to translate, or even think you might ask them to translate or, expound a little bit, they're not showing up. So now I understand, brother. You're the reason they didn't show up. I'm just messing around. But yeah, let's
because I'm really my brother's keeper and I love everybody, man.
Nah, I'm just joking around. But yeah, definitely you're dropping some gems that I can see that there's a lot of brothers and sisters who follow the Lashawan Qadash, and they are in agreement, because what's been shown at this point is that we went into history. Like, we went back into the ancient, so we can't say it wasn't there. You showed it was there. Even brought on the guy who actually still speaks the ancient Hebrew, and it's the same as so we can't get around it. Just can't. But let me back up off the mic and give it back to you. We finna deal with this Yahweh shot. This finna be really interesting.
All right, I'm gonna close out with this. This should be about another 4 slides, and it's gonna be quick. I'm gonna say immediately, next slide.
Okay.
Why Yahweh Shai and Yahusha are incorrect pronunciations. They invent sounds that do not exist in biblical Hebrew. The form Yahweh Shai contains the invented cluster Washai. Yahweh is what One West Hebrew grammarians are saying is the name of the creator, right? That's his name is Yahweh, right? Last time I checked, One West Hebrew say Yahweh, right? Yahweh Shai is his son, and the name of the father is in the son, right? We already have a problem. The term Yahweh Shai or Jesus or Yeshua is supposed to biblically mean Yah shall save. So here's our first problem. There is no root in biblical Hebrew, Washai. In fact, Hebrew roots don't begin with the letter Wav. So how are you getting saved from Washai when there is no word called Washai in Hebrew at all? It's not in Arabic, our sister tongue. It's not in Aramaic. It's not in any Afro-Asiatic language. Washai don't mean save in Hebrew. That's the first problem. Washai which has no basis in any Hebrew verbal root associated with the name Joshua or Jesus. The diphthong, the aw in the middle of Yahweh Shai, is not found in the Hebrew name Yehoshua, nor its shortened form Yeshua. The Shai ending does not correspond to any biblical Hebrew suffix, nor to the original root, Yod, Shin, Ayin, which means to save, Yasha. This makes Yahweh Shai a completely artificial construction with no grammar, no root, and no manuscript support. If Yahweh Shai is correct, show me which attestation demonstrates that. Go through Hebrew grammar and teach us why Yahweh Shai is the correct pronunciation. But please don't tell us ancient Hebrew had You know, that was the sounds of the ancient man. You know, it was just one sound. We said ah. That's stupid, with all due respect. Because I might stump my toe a certain way and scream out ah. There might be an emotion in me that evokes an E, a O. The vowels pull out of us emotion and tone in conversation. The human being has several different emotions. So that has to be represented with several different tones. Do I really have to go through the psychology of language too? If you're only saying ah, you're only expressing one emotion. But if you go through the range of tone, you're giving full expression to human consciousness. So can I show you that if you're only saying ah and I, you must be telling me you're half retarded? With all due respect. Because there's no human being on the world that speaks in any vernacular and only has those two tonages. Next slide.
There you go.
I want to say this. As a debater and in part as who I am, sometimes I could go hard. So I'm going to try my best not to insult people with the way I'm delivering information. So if the way I'm delivering it is hurting anybody with my passion, my energy, I'm going to apologize. But I'm going to also say, if you can get past that, just look at what I'm demonstrating, what I'm showing, and consider that. Oftentimes, we don't like the messenger, so we lose the message. Israel had a problem fulfilling God's word because they didn't like the messenger. Get past that. Get to the message. Yahweh Shai is grammatically incorrect because the Hebrew spellings connected to Jesus' name, Yeshua or Yehoshua, do not contain the letters, vowels, or consonant patterns needed to produce the sounds Yah, Yahah, or Washai. The form Yahweh Shai would require, and I'm going to teach them how it could make sense. The form Yahweh Shai, in order for that to be accurate, would require the letter He or Ha after the Yod to create Yaha, or a Wa plus Shin plus the E sound at the end, sequence at the end. But neither spelling contains these letters or vowel structures on any attested literature, manuscripts. Altering the vowels and adding consonants that are not present breaks the Hebrew morphology. What is morphology? I've been saying it all night. Morphology represents the formation of words. Syntax represents the formation of sentences. Grammar represents the general rules of language. I have something I'll throw at the community right now. The next person that tells you that they don't follow modern or biblical Hebrew, they only follow Lashawan Qadash, ask them to explain the rules of ancient Hebrew language. Ask them to show you and demonstrate grammar, morphology, syntax. Show us how words are formed grammatically. Show us how the structure of sentences are formed grammatically. Hebrew follows what we call VSO structure as a matter of syntax, the formation of sentences, which means Hebrew sentences begin with verbs. That's psychological, by the way. In the West, in America, you can get by based on, I don't have to listen to you, darky. My father's Donald Trump. I don't have to listen to you. My father owns the New York Knicks. In the West, in Western ideology, you become important because of what you're attached to. That's not Hebraic tradition. You are important because you added your stone to the foundation of your building. You contributed something. You did something. Hebrew sentences begin with verbs because it's more important what you do than who the hell you think you are. So biblical Hebrew has VSO, verb, subject, object. Ran across the street, Johnny, to the store. We all would listen to somebody saying that in English and be like, he's stupid, he can't speak. Which is how a lot of foreigners speak when they come here. And we say they're stupid. But they're actually following a more ancient pattern of speaking languages where verbs lead. We say subject, verb, object. Johnny ran across the street to the store. And we say that makes sense. Not knowing psychologically that's emphasizing arrogance and ego. I could really go on and be here all day, by the way. But let's continue. Next slide. Yahushua is grammatically incorrect because the Hebrew spellings connected to Jesus' name, Yeshua and Yehoshua, do not contain the letters, vowels, or consonant patterns needed to produce Yahah or Washai. The form Yahushua would require a hey after the yod to create Yahu, a wav plus a shin plus a kirik sequence at the end, but neither spelling contains these letters or vowel structures. Altering the vowels and adding consonants that are not present breaks the Hebrew morphology, creating a pronunciation that is not found in any Hebrew manuscript. There's no Hebrew manuscript that even remotely agrees with these pronunciations that the One West community is contributing. Because biblical Hebrew meanings depend on the exact combination of spelling and pronunciation, changing either one, and especially inventing new syllables, changes the meaning entirely. So y'all out here saying, well, even if we wrong, I heard Israelites say this, Zion, I might not know as much Hebrew as you, and even if you right, that Yiddish, that biblical Hebrew is what it is, I still ain't saying that. Because at least this is what we created, Lashawan, Qadash. So I'm going to still do that, Zion. Kum Yasharab. And that's why we the monkey and clown show.
Yeah.
Right there. Because we wrong and strong and we self-defeated before the fight bell rang. Because what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Next slide. Yeshua. When you say Yeshua to people, they say, oh, that's the more Yiddish term, even though I showed with the very first slide that Yiddish is a completely different sounding language from biblical Hebrew. Even the vocabulary words to represent ideas are completely different from Hebrew. The only thing that Yiddish has in common with Hebrew is that it uses Hebrew letters to write its vernacular or language, just like Spanish uses Latin or English to express Spanish. Yeshua is a shortened form in Aramaic of Yehoshua. During the time of Jesus of Nazareth, the lingua franca, what does that mean? The language spoken of the day of every single person in that region is Aramaic. I know, I did read that. I did find out that that's the truth. During the era of the Messiah, our people spoke Aramaic. Some of us that were a little bit more educated, we went out and we learned Greek, especially those that were idolaters. They went and did what the heathen did, so they learned Greek. But I did find that, Zion. I do see that the majority of our people since the Persian captivity were speaking Aramaic. So you're right on that. But I still want to say Yahusha, or I still want to say Yeshua. I like that more. Okay. But I'm going to call him what his mama called him, Yeshua. That's what she called him. Yeshua. She didn't utter Yahusha. With all due respect, she definitely didn't fix her face to say Yahushai. Next slide. In biblical Hebrew grammar, the proper Hebrew/Aramaic form behind Jesus is Yeshua, because it reflects the standard post-exilic shortened form of the older Hebrew name Yehoshua. Remember, I gave you an attestation earlier in the book of Nehemiah showing you that a name formerly understood in Hebrew tradition and culture as Joshua, by the time of the Persian captivity, our people were speaking Aramaic, so everyone with the name Joshua, people were calling them Yeshua, because we were now speaking Aramaic. During the time of Jesus, anybody can Google. I heard we got ChatGPT, anyone can use that. Aramaic is the lingua franca of the first century Common Era. Everyone in that region is primarily speaking Aramaic. You can't force Jesus into having a purely Hebrew name if that's not what his mama called him.
Facts.
In biblical Hebrew grammar, the proper Hebrew Aramaic form behind Jesus is Yeshua, because it reflects the standard post-exilic shortened form of the older Hebrew name Yehoshua. In Hebrew phonology, the long theophoric prefix Yeho routinely contracts to Ye, Yeho Natan, Ye Natan, Yeho Sedek, Ye Sedek, and the vowel reduction of the medial syllable produces the attested form Yeshua. This is exactly the morphology found in late biblical Hebrew, Imperial Aramaic, in Second Temple inscriptions, where the name Yeshua appears dozens of times as the normal Hebrew spelling for individuals named Joshua. By the time of the Second Temple period, we had swapped out this pronunciation Joshua for Yeshua because everyone was speaking Aramaic. Even today, ask Israelites how you say father. They're going to say Abba. My children call me Abba. Ask Israelites today how you say mother. They're going to say Ima. My children call their mom Ima. Check this out. The way to say father in Hebrew is Av. The way to say mother in Hebrew is Aim. When we say Abba, that's Aramaic. When we say Ima, that's Aramaic. Even the way we say mother and father supposedly in Hebrew today actually reflects the last language we spoke, Aramaic. The Aramaic dialects of the period preserved the same structure, pronouncing it Yeshua with the final guttural ayin, often softened or silent in speech. The Greek iusis is simply a phonetic approximation of Yeshua into Greek phonology. So watch this. We know that the Septuagint becomes the basis of a lot of biblical translations. We know that the New Testament primarily draws from the Septuagint, but those of us that study further, we know that there are clearly Hebrew sources that even the Greek manuscripts are being copied from. But nonetheless, scholars say that the New Testament was written in Greek. So when they go to back translate the name Jesus back to the name from which it come from, they say it's Yeshua. Why? Because the Septuagint is also borrowing from an earlier manuscript, an earlier tradition, which is the Hebrew. And the Hebrew spoken at the time from since the Persian captivity until the era of Jesus is Aramaic. We're speaking Aramaic. And by the way, we can get technical because there's Eastern Aramaic and there's Western Aramaic. Aramaic in Babylon sounds different than Aramaic in the land of Israel. Next slide.
I thought we was already technical. Huh? But I get where you're coming from.
I'm actually holding back a lot because there's a lot of
I believe
grammatical language that we could use to describe this. But one thing I don't do, and I say this as a rule of thumb, is teach above people's pay grade. Oftentimes, speakers want to say something that nobody could understand, so they sound like the smartest person in the room. And instantly they become the dumbest person in the room. Because the goal of conversation is communication. The goal of communication is that you connect with your audience. If I'm using language that you can't grasp, I have lost you. So while I'm trying to be the smartest person in the room by using language that nobody understands so I could sound like I'm smarter, I just instantly became the dumbest person in the room because I didn't connect with nobody.
Facts. Definitely. Yee, man. Hey, just before you start reading, man, like, hey, chat, drop some fire emojis. I ain't got my bombs working. Drop some fire emojis. It's still what? We got like 200 watching? Close to 200? And get them likes up too. That's crazy. We got close to 200 people watching, only 108 likes. Get the likes up, but drop some fire emojis if the brother Zion Lexx is really dropping gems tonight. Like he's giving us something at this point. You can't ignore it. I'm sitting here thinking like I gotta tell you, you don't step on my toes a couple times, but that's why I called you, because I knew if it didn't feel right, something was different. I need to learn this, and that's why I reached out. So I'm just give all praises to the Most High that the brother accepted and came on. But let me give it back to you. You got it out.
All right. So we're on the last couple of slides, and then we can open the lines and have some fun with the family. Yeshua is grammatically correct in Hebrew because it is the historically attested contracted form of the full name Yehoshua. And in biblical Hebrew, contracted names preserve the same root meaning as their longer forms. So even though the term or pronunciation Yeshua differs in pronunciation from Yehoshua, its root form, verbal root form, still preserves the root meaning, Yah shall save. You can't do that with Yahusha. It changes the verbal root form. It no longer means Yah shall save. You definitely can't do that with Yahushai, because that's literally like you're saying a whole nother language if you really know Hebrew. If I'm going to be brutally honest, if I had to choose between Yahushai and Yahusha, Yahusha's closer, but I mean, it's still in Mars. But Yahushai, in terms of distance, I don't know. That's the multiverse. That's how far that is away from the true pronunciation. But Yahusha would be closer, even though that's still Mars. Still further out. Still wrong.
Makes sense.
But it's still better than saying Yahushua. I would feel better with Israelites saying Yahusha. It sounds like they're trying. Yahushua is crazy. In 2025, Yahushua is crazy. With all due respect. I'm a respecter of no persons, just like most of us should be. But I also love my brothers and sisters. And sometimes it's tough love that hits us the most.
Facts. That's facts.
The name Yehoshua means Yah will save, Yah saves, built from the divine element Yod, He, Wav, pronounced either Yeho or Yahu. The verbal root, however, is Yod, Shin, Ayin, which means to save. In late biblical and post-exilic Hebrew, the full theophoric prefix Yeho regularly contracts to Ye or Yi, producing the shorter grammatical valid form Yeshua, which still reflects the meaning Yah will save. So when we contract Yehoshua, which means in Hebrew, Yah shall save, into Aramaic, Yeshua, it still means Yah shall save. You can't do that with Yahusha, because you just altered the meaning. It will not mean Yah shall save. And Yahushua, you might as well be speaking Chinese.
Kind of feel like we are at this point.
Unlike fabricated forms such as Yahusha or Yahushai, which add letters and violate Hebrew morphology, Yeshua follows documented patterns of Hebrew name contraction and preserves the same meaning as Yehoshua without altering the consonantal root or grammatical structure. Thus, Yeshua is the only form among those mentioned that both follows Hebrew grammar and retains the meaning Yah will save or He will save. What does Matthew 1:21 say? And she shall bring forth a son, and she shall call his name Yeshua. Put aside the pronunciation. Listen to what it means. For he shall save his people. Well, if the meaning is he shall save, you can't be saying Yahushai. If the meaning is he shall save, you can't be saying Yahusha. Because in those altered states of morphology, you just changed the meaning. I'm done, good brother.
Jeez. Hey, listen. Drop them fire emojis, man. Hey, listen. If you don't drop them fire emojis, man, we got to slap the hell out you. Like, you got to drop them fire emojis. This right here, you know what? When I reached out to you, I can't remember my exact thought at the time, but I do remember I was saying, I had literally just said Yahushua. And you know what? As simple as it was, this was my thought. It never really rolled off the tongue properly. I'm like, I wonder. And then I was listening. I started looking at, the different names. One of them even feels easier to say. One of them feels a little more forced. And so I was like, you know what? It'd be good to actually start looking into this. I personally feel like we're in the place where the Most High is just kind of shaking some stuff up. We got to go back and relearn. I've been telling, our congregation this the whole time. We got to start relearning, re-educating. We all came in this thing very zealous. Hey, let's get in. We're going to scream at some people. We're going to get the kingdom. And that's it. But it's more to it than that. It's time to start relearning. And as we see right now in the community, there are some things getting, shaken up pretty good. Whether we agree, disagree, the fact that we can all agree on this is there are some things that was just taught to us and it wasn't correct. And if you ain't seen tonight that a lot of what you learned wasn't correct, it wasn't just words. Brother went back in history. Had what was that? The stele that was on the screen that we had.
Misha stele, the Moabite stone. I mean, we can go on.
Artifacts.
Phoenician inscriptions, attested Canaanite language, all speaking the same way that biblical and modern Hebrew speaks.
So how can we say at this point, hey, well, there's no vowel sounds? Well, we just went back, 3000 BC somewhere, and we still saw the same thing. At this point, I have to agree with the Big Og. If we just keep doing the same thing, seeing that it's not factual, it is stupid. And if you're offended by that, it's because you're stupid. And I'm not calling nobody stupid because I'm hoping nobody's offended by that. But we got to be ready to say, hey, listen, you know what? At the very least, let me watch this again. At the very least, let me just check it out again. This is what we finna do. Let me get it open. We're going to open up the phone lines. Let me pull the Clubhouse stage first. Clubhouse, where y'all at? We got anybody in Clubhouse? I know we got about 200 on the YouTube. Listen, we're going to open up the phone lines. If y'all want to know the number, it's literally right there. 305-209-7902. 305-209-7902. We'll open up the phone lines and get some questions in. Remember, when you call, first and foremost, I shouldn't have to say this, but I will. Respect the guest, whether you agree, whether you disagree. All respect on Inside the Nation. When you call in, we're not going to have a extended conversation, 5, 10, 15 minutes. We're going to get your one question.
Good evening, guys. I respect you all and thank you for all this information.
Hold on. Oh, I appreciate it. Hold on 1 second. 1 second.
I want to say something really quick, and it comes from a comment in your comment section, and it really speaks to what I said a couple of moments ago. It looks like somebody deleted a comment, and that's fine, that's good. But I remember what the person said. The person in the comment section said, this nigga, in reference to me, was teaching a wrong doctrine for 20-something years, but he's a reliable teacher. That's what I said to you earlier. The problem that Israelites have with evolving and changes is because I could never be seen as being wrong. Because if I'm wrong, I'm not credible anymore. If I'm wrong, people won't respect me. What they really mean is if I'm wrong, nobody gonna give me donations and money no more. If I'm wrong, people not gonna look at me like I'm the HNIC, the head Hebrew in charge. Brother B, I don't have those issues.
Facts.
Because my God is right, and that's it. My God is right, and that's it. The best of us get it wrong at times. Getting it wrong don't mean you're unreliable. Getting it wrong and saying that you got it wrong means that you have integrity. And that's clearly something that person doesn't understand.
And it also, too, hey, Shalom 144, hey, listen, comment, man, participate, call in if you want to, but the disrespect, see, this is a different type of platform. We operate a little differently, all right? You know what I'm saying? Respect the guests, you know what I mean? So the comments, we all grown men. One thing I make a practice of is this. I don't disrespect grown men. That's just, I can't disrespect another grown man. If you don't agree, okay, fine, you don't agree. The crazy part is, what are you going to disagree with? It was on the screen. It wasn't like he was just talking. Again, this is when we start being stupid, right? Even if you disagree, at least look at the information and see, look into it, at least at the very least. Come on, don't be stupid, bro. Anybody on the Clubhouse side, they got a question? If not, we're going to get the phone lines open.
Yeah, he just came back up.
All right, keep this in mind. One question or comment, and this is for the phone lines too. One question or comment. Once you get your response, you can have a follow-up question or comment, and then we're going to go to the next person. Don't come and try and have a 5 or 10 minute conversation, all right?
Okay, I just want to say thank you for this information. I am an Aramaic from Switzerland, and I speak also the language. And I want only ask if Aramaic not the language before Hebraic. This is my question to you.
It's a good question. Scholars argue as to whether or not Aramaic is older than Hebrew.
Yeah.
I would say it could be my bias. When I would outright tell you that Hebrew is older, I would have a greater time demonstrating it for you. But I'll say this to you, and I'll also say this to the audience.
Okay.
The term Aramite, from whence we translate into English as Aramaic, that comes from a figurehead, right? An actual personage, right? A person, Aram. When you go back into the history of the region of the Levant, Canaan, and even Abraham's history, you see that our first encounter with this person, Aram, this figurehead among a people, is from the Bronze Age period. The Bronze Age period, scholars attest to, is where we find the earliest references to Hebrew and Aramaic. It's not an easy conversation to be able to distinguish one from the other, but I'll say this to you. I believe that Hebrew is older, and I believe I can demonstrate it to you. But I am aware that there are people that follow Aramaic ritually, religiously, maybe even holistically, that feel differently. And what I would say is present what you have to demonstrate that Aramaic is older, apart from tradition, because there are traditions in the Levant, there are traditions in Lebanon, there are traditions in Mesopotamia that hold that Aramaic is older, and I'm very aware of those traditions. What I have rarely seen in those conversations are the attestations and the proofs. So what I would say to you is, I'm of the opinion that I can demonstrate why Hebrew is older. But I will also say this, that doesn't take away from the reverence and even, I want to say, the holiness of Aramaic. That is certainly our sister tongue, and there is a great measure of holiness to that tongue as well.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. And in my language, the name of Jesus is Yeshua. Yeshua.
Exactly. Aramaic.
Yeah. This is dialect. This is Aramaic dialect. Yeah. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate the question. All right, Brett, whoever on the stage at the clubhouse, hold on 1 second. I'm about to open up the phone line, see if we got anybody waiting on the phones. Let me hit this real quick. All right, phone lines are open. I'm going to give it a few seconds before, if nothing come through. I know somebody better come through all these damn text messages. All right, there we go. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Priest Akai, a.k.a. Deacon Genesis, a.k.a. Deacon Sakari. I just want to give a mighty, mighty shalom to the brother Zion Lexx, man. Powerful presentation.
Facts.
Big salute to you, man. We come a long way, right?
Man, we did. We got to do it. Like my brother Hassad said, we're going to either have to grow or get left behind.
That's it, brother. That's it. By the way, I did check out you guys' presentation on this particular platform, and I agree with you.
All praise to the Most High, brother. I appreciate you, man. And, I don't know, it had to be Satan and the demons that we haven't linked up in the almost 20 years I've been hearing about you.
Likewise, man. Likewise. Sometimes differences arise among brothers. And we all have our clique, we all have our people that we're with. And sometimes out of allegiance to others, we get carried away. I got carried away in harboring hatred for certain Israelite groups because of who I had allegiance to. And some of us have that as well. But I could definitely tell you this. I know you're a real one. And one thing about being a real one is real recognize another real one. There's no reason why from this day forward we shouldn't go on to build.
Facts.
And you know what's crazy? Before we even tuned in, me and Hassad said we're gonna put together a dream team. I can't say the other brothers who we said we wanted on the dream team, but we for sure said Zion Lexx has to be on this dream team.
I'm with it.
I'm with it. Well, I got one question, and I'll let the rest of the callers get to it. In Amos 9 and 12, there's a little bit of controversy over this. In Amos 9 and 12, when it says those that are called by my name, who are being called by the name of the Most High in Amos 9 and 12?
All those who are called by name, Kol Hanikra, Wewishmi, Weli, Kavodi, Barati, Afi, Asarti. All who are called by my name, I have created for my glory. Right, I'm familiar with that passage. He's talking about Israel. When the Creator says that Israel is called by his name, that is a literal truth and that's a figurative truth. It's a literal truth because all of us basically have theophoric names. My name is Abdiel. We're called Yisrael. Even if we we borrow from Lashawan Qadash, and a person might want to say Yasharal or Yasharala. That contains a theophoric name. So the name of the creator is literally on us. Now, I want to say that the figurative way of looking at it is that we were called as the Son of the Most High from since the creation of the world. We mirror what the Messiah does, but on a smaller level. So just as the Messiah is a Mashiach, an anointed one, we too are called anointed ones in the scripture, except that the Mashiach or the Messiah is anointed to do a much grander job, and we are anointed to do a job that is lesser, but we are one and the same, and we have a lot in common. The Messiah is God's son. We also are called God's son in Exodus 4 and 22. So in the figurative sense, we are also called by God's name because we were called from since the creation of the world. There's a teaching in our, and I know everybody may not feel too happy about this, but there's a teaching in our oral tradition that says that the name of Israel existed from since the inception of creation. And any nation that would have accepted the rule, decree, and law of God would have earned and merited that name. It just so happened that Abraham merited it through his walk, then Isaac, then Jacob, and he was granted the name Yasharal, Yisrael. Pronunciations to the side for a moment, but just fact and truth. That name could have went to any nation that accepted his divine decree. That name was called from since the inception of the world.
Okay, so when it says certain translations say that the heathen, Edom and the heathen, which are called by my name, so it makes it seem like these other nations are being called by his name, a remnant of them, and then you have the LXX that says, it doesn't mention Edom in the LXX, but it says, all the men, all mankind rather, all the remnant of mankind, which are called by my name. So I did speak with Dr. Michael Brown about who the being called by the name was, and he said that due to the, I think he said singular, plural, and masculine and feminine usages there, that it was the remnant of mankind that he was drawing out and being called by his name. Either way, though, it's not that big of a deal to me. I just wanted to be able to explain that properly without, improper.
No, I definitely get it, man. I'll tell you this. If you invited me on your show, of which is probably long overdue, I would love to come on you brother's show. We could go over some of those scriptures together and look at it in the language and have some fun, man.
All praises, all praises. Yeah, we want to get you, we want to get Dr. Divine, and we definitely want to look into these Hebrew texts. And it don't have to be about the elephant in the room, which is Gentile salvation right now. It could be about everything that we utilize on our day-to-day doctrine. We definitely need you in this community, and we appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man. Definitely. I appreciate you too. That's why
I'll
if you notice, good brother,
and then we'll link up. I'll link up with you through Abaya, Lord willing.
All right. I want to say something to you before you leave.
Okay.
Clearly, you and I have had, issues in the past, based on, your association with Gorilla Hebrew, which is the person I was really beefing with at the time online. And, for years, I refused to respond because I said to myself, as mad as I was in the moment at watching certain videos and hearing things that were said, I still realized that you guys were my brothers. And then when I really took a time to listen to what you said, you wasn't making it personal, you made it doctrinal. So that's what really made me fall back and say, you know what, it's not even worth to respond because they're not making it personal. They're not saying I'm a crappy person, I'm a horrible human being. They're saying the brother got it wrong and we believe that he's leading people astray as a result of getting it wrong. And guess what? You was right, because I damn sure had it wrong.
Man, that's hey, listen, you know what's crazy? I done shot so many shots. I don't even remember doing a video on you. You know what? Hey, praise the Most High God.
Damn.
If I ever was insulting, I try to keep it doctrinal all the time. But if you ever felt offended, I apologize as well. And it's only up from here, brother.
It's only up from here, man. I'm with it, man. Let's get it.
Hey,
praises. All right.
brotherly love. Man, that's what we're talking about.
Show. Abaya, I damn near want to re-upload this on my channel. How much I gotta pay you, brother?
Wait, say it again. I missed it. My piece going. Mayor piece going there. Say it again.
I said I want to re-upload this. I want to re-upload this whole presentation on my channel. Damn near.
Oh yeah. You know, I'm gonna tax you. I'm not messing with you. I'll holler at you.
Oh, crazy. All right, y'all. Shalom, brothers.
Hey, shalom. All right. Do we have anybody on the Clubhouse stage? I know we had somebody calling in, and I missed that call. Definitely when we finish with the Clubhouse stage, call in again. But who we got on the Clubhouse side?
We got brother.
Brother. What's aside? What's going on?
Shalom, Mike. What's going on?
Shalom. Yo, shout out to Zion Lexx, brother. Like, it's funny because Priest called in and he got to say it before I got to, but I definitely appreciate this. We got a lot to learn, and I'm 100% on board. I was gonna ask the same question he did about Amos chapter 9, but since he already asked it, that's fine. The one thing I wanted to ask is, I saw you break down the name of the Messiah. What is the name that you use for the Most High?
I don't want to sound like I'm afraid to answer you, but
if you don't want to, for reverence, I answer that.
I do believe in not pronouncing the Creator's name openly out of respect.
Okay.
I do believe there's a passage in the book of Exodus where the Creator says, "This is my memorial forever. This is my name for all generations." Where He says, "This is my name forever," it's written in Hebrew, Olam, which is spelled Ayin Lamed Mem. That spelling is literally the Hebrew word for hide or conceal. When you want to say forever in Hebrew, you need another letter, which is the Wav, right? Or the Wa, if I'm using Lashawan Qadash. So in order to get forever, that would have to be spelled Ayin, Wav, or Wa, Lamed, and Mem. That's Olam, and that means forever. Go and look at that passage right now in Exodus chapter 3:18 and Exodus chapter 6:3 and 4. You'll notice that it's literally spelled Ayin, Lamed, and Mem. Look at that meaning in any Hebrew dictionary. That means to hide or conceal. And so our tradition taught us that when we speak the name of the Creator publicly in the midst of the Gentiles, we don't pronounce His name out of respect. Somebody in my classes asked me, Hassan, why you do that, Zion? Because there are several passages where the Creator and other inspired men say, shout the name of the Creator, speak the name of the Creator. We call out in the name of the Creator. Clearly, we spoke the name of the Creator, and we did. The only context is we didn't just throw the Creator's name among the Goyim and the Gentile like that. And I'll say it this way. Hassan, if somebody met, with all due respect, brother, I don't know your family, but I just want to use an example, right? If somebody met your mother, and walked into your house the first day they met your mother. And let's say your mother's name, Hassan, is Janet. And he walked into your house and he said, what up, Janet? Janet's going to smack him and she's probably going to smack you, Hassan. Because as a respect level, nobody that you just met get to know your parents' name. Most of us have enough respect and love for our parents that we don't call them by their first name. We say mother, we say father, we say mama, we say daddy. If we speak in Hebrew, we might say Abba, we might say Ima, but we all get the point. Maybe when we jesting and we joking, we might say our parents' name, but out of respect, most of us don't do that. So I just have a little question with my thinking. We say of the Creator that He's also our Father. So why would I just take His name and use it in any space and anywhere? Imagine being in a Kemetic War Conference and somebody has a question about the God of Israel. And I start talking about, oh, this is what Yahweh say. And then the next person goes up, his name is Shaka Amos, and he say F Yahweh. Guess who just caused him to say F Yahweh? You did, because you just helped with the correct pronunciation. That's like you teaching somebody what your mother's name is. Y'all got beef, and next week he be like, I smashed Janet. You're going to be pretty upset by that, right?
No, I get the point, 100%. I guess I'll just go through a buy. I definitely want to hear your breakdown on the name of the Most High.
So I could definitely share it with you, but I'd rather do it privately.
Yeah, that's fine. We can do it privately.
That's my answer. Yeah.
No problem, brother. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Appreciate you, Hassad. Let's go back to the phone line and let me open it back up. Let's see if we got somebody waiting. I'm gonna give it a few seconds. So it's open now if you want to call through. It's open. Matter of fact, here's what let me see if I can do this. Hey, whoever 240 is, I'm calling you back. Make sure I can get you on the line. I know you called a few times.
This is Joshua.
Hey, Shalom. This is Abaya calling you back from Inside Nation. I know you called in a couple times. What you got for us?
Yeah, I was trying to get up in there, man.
There you go. You on the line with Zion. What's your question or your comment?
Oh, appreciate it. Shalom. Yeah, fella, shalom to everybody on here that is to hear, eyes to see. It was beautiful. Zion, brother, I've been watching you for a while now. I just gotta say, I love the growth and appreciate the truth that you put on the platform. I know it's gonna be hard for brothers to get it and to accept it because we've been caught up in the doctrine, how we were brought into it, unfortunately. I do want to share a few things. What you mentioned about changing how people change certain things, like by not making a distinction, by saying we have no vowels. I was never down with that. It never made sense. Like Yahweh Shai, that name you never see in scripture where it's YHWH or Yad-Hey, Vav-Hey or Wah-Hey, and then the Shin. You never see the fullness of the Father's name and then the Shai after that. So that always brought confusion to me. When I first started getting into it, I got a book called the Institute of Scriptural Research, which is a Bible, and it had the Hebrew characters of the Father's name and the Son's name, and I always called him Yahshua or Yahoshua. I understand what you meant by the Yeho. It makes sense to me. I just want to share something real quick. I feel like it's a powerful thing not to take the Father's name in vain. So maybe it might be, philosophy, but that makes sense for no Israelite or no man to bear the name Y-A-H-O in the front out of respect, out of who the Father is and how he is the one, how we're not to take his name in vain. That's just my personal thing. I could be wrong, but I look at that as a principle and a value, and I respect that. For us not to make the difference of just saying why, la, la, like it's crazy. That you're not making the difference between Qadash and Qadash, which is holy or profane. And if there's no difference with that, we're no different than the Gentiles by not making a difference between the clean and unclean. So I just say I love the presentation. It's respectable, it's honorable, and keep growing. And my Israelites that's listening to this, please take heed to this. Please don't get caught up with the elders and how we've been taught since we came in this thing, because if that's the case, we're no different than our ancestors that put the Messiah on the stake and denied him for the sake of power and authority of men. So with that, I just say shalom, and I appreciate you both. And Abaya,
Stay on 1 second. Stay on 1 second, brother. I want to respond to you really quick and say something if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Notwithstanding all of the amazing things you said, which I all the way resonate with, and there's nothing that you said that I disagree with, I want to emphasize something for people that may not understand something you said. Even though our elders, my elders, your elders, elders in general, they're not perfect, they're men. So there's always things that somebody gets wrong. Our job as their students is to correct their work, right? And that's how the legacy continues. So if there's something that our elders got wrong, we don't honor them by continuing the wrong stuff because we make them look bad by correcting them. No, we honor them by updating the information so that they don't look crazy. The fight that they had was different than the fight that we had today. The fight of our elders, they was arguing with black people in America that were pure Christians. There was no Moors that they were arguing with. There was no Nuwabians that they were arguing with. There were no light disciples that they were arguing with. So their fight is different than the fight that we have today. Also, we have access to greater stages and levels of information today. So things that our elders got wrong or may have got wrong, it's our job to correct. There's nothing wrong with admitting or realizing that the elders got something wrong, but there is something absolutely wrong with not correcting and updating it.
Amazing. And I want to ask that as well. That makes sense. And unfortunately, it seems like almost now we're becoming black conspiracy theories, man. It's like information, how we rolling, how we're doing things, just so completely off because we're so angry and we've been fed so many lies that we're just rolling with some foolishness just to be separate. And I completely agree with what you said about the elders. They damn sure had a different fight. We got some more information, and we all got to be just like Yeshua said.
We
like
love
that
them
child.
because if they didn't walk 10 toes on the ground and hold it down, none of us would have the voice that we have today and the lane that we have today. So as much as the elders again may have got wrong and did in fact get wrong with certain things, not everything, but certain things, they paved the way for us to ride and live today. So I'm always
Right.
honor the elders. I was never a member of ISUPK, but I knew many of the elders of the old ISUPK. I came in this way of life in 1994. I've been to Passover, the big Passover in 1995, 96, and 97. I remember the original One West elders. I was there. And I got to tell you that even though then I disagree with parts of their doctrine, I still had so much respect for these men of God that went out on those streets and did the work. I'm not like most people that will sit behind computers and talk about people that's doing the work. Meanwhile, they don't do shit. So
Right.
I'm passionate, but you get the point, man. I'm with
No,
you.
I appreciate you sharing that too, because brothers in the chat, they talking crazy, so they hearing that, they will know where your heart is and where you're coming from. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we appreciate you calling.
All right, shalom alaikum.
Hey, shalom.
To answer your question, I know the good brother. He has a question on the screen in the chat. He said, respectfully, are you familiar with ancient Ge'ez? It's documented this Semitic language only had the vowel ah. I'm going to say something to you. Not only am I familiar with it, but I actually do textual criticism, comparing and contrasting Ge'ez and Amharic, which is another dialect of Ethiopian vernacular and language. And I'll say this to you. The very name that they use to describe that dialect shows you that they had another sound other than ah. The word Ge'ez is a Ge'ez word. That pronunciation ease is part of their vernacular. So they clearly can't have only an ah sound because the way that they describe their language is to call it Ge'ez, and that e sound is part of their vernacular. Well, good question, good brother.
All right. I may have a slight echo. My earpieces went dead on me, so I had to take them out. So if y'all hear an echo, my fault. We're gonna move back to the clubhouse side. We got two more people on stage, so we'll answer those two. Now, I see whoever called from the 570 area code. We're gonna get these two on stage on the clubhouse side, and then I'll give you a call back. So just keep your phone by you. I'll give you a call so we can get you to get your comment or question out. Who's next on the clubhouse side?
Brother Dre.
Hey, shalom, Dre. You got it.
Shalom, shalom. How y'all doing? Peace and blessings, man. What's going on, brother? Bye. What up, Zion? Peace and blessings to you, bro. I spoke to you a few times, man. It's been a minute, man. I know you had so many discussions you probably don't remember. But first and foremost, I only got one question, but I do want to say, big ups on the walk. You know what I'm saying? I got much respect for anybody who willing to, stand corrected. Because this shame ain't never being wrong. The shame is willingly staying wrong and not, educating ourselves and growing. We all have been wrong and probably will be wrong again. So, change is the strength in that. So I just want to say big up to that. I got a lot of good information from you. So I just got one question for you, man, and I'm going to be out the way. I'm going to actually request that you go in your bag a little bit, too, because you probably going to know why I'm asking you this. I asked one of my brothers who do deal with the Lashawan Qadash. He couldn't really explain or expound, so I'm going to throw this question your way, and you're going to know exactly why I'm asking you this. As it pertains to the name of King David in the book of 1st and 2nd Kings, how it's spelled, I believe in 1st and 2nd Kings, you have it with the delete, divide, delete, 3 letters, but in Chronicles, I think it got like an extra yod or whatnot. If you can give me, if you want to briefly, summarize it or do a quick little rundown, why do you suppose that is as far as it pertains to David's name in the Hebrew?
So you got to consider the writers of the Book of Chronicles. You're talking about Anshe Knesset Hagedolah, the men of the Great Assembly, Nehemiah, Mordecai, all these great men. They were replete with knowledge all throughout. And by the way, what you mentioned, yeah, I definitely teach, because there's people in my classes right now that are here right now that were probably smiling as you were saying that, because we definitely talk about this a lot. So all throughout the book of First and Second Kings, David's name is spelled Dalet Wav Dalet. Remember, every Hebrew letter is also a number. So Dalet is 4, Yod is 10, and Dalet is 4. And together, that's going to yield what? 14, right? I mean, excuse me, Dalet is 4, Wav is 6, and Dalet is 4, 4, 6, 4, 14. In the book of Chronicles, there's an additional letter, Dalet Wav Yod Dalet. That's where we get the pronunciation in biblical Hebrew or modern Hebrew as Dawid, because of that Yod feature. In a more archaic time, it would have been Dawad or Dawood, which is why you might hear Muslims saying that. But in Chronicles, it's spelled with additional letter. Well, consider what David does. In the book of Chronicles and in the book of Second Kings, you learn something. David reordered the Levitical watches of the priests. The Levitical watches of the priests was a 14-hour watch and a 14-stage watch, that each of them were assigned different areas to work and different times to work, and it was known as the Levitical watch, and these are hours of the day, and these are different jobs. David comes in and with his knowledge, he changes things. He reorders the Levitical watch, which was 14, and then he brings it to 24. So when you go through the book of First Chronicles, you see that David reorders the Levitical watch to a 24 division watch. It was previously 14. That's reflected in his name. There's a much more maybe esoteric reason why that is, but on the surface level, that's what it is. He reorders the Levitical watch. So the scribe, the Sofer, that's right in the book of Chronicles, adds the additional letter to show you that David had so much prowess before the Creator that he's able to manipulate the Levitical order, something that no king would even try to do because the Creator established that. So he adds an additional letter to David's name. But there is another reason discussed in the tradition as to why that is.
No, I appreciate that, man. And I'm gonna just leave it here, but I think you're probably possibly alluding to that midrashic concept. But I just want to say this. So, in somewhat in conclusion, would it be fair to say if we're not even acknowledging the language correctly, it can cause us to miss out on some of the deeper mysteries that the writer may be even trying to convey? Would that be fair to consider?
I was just saying to the class the other day, if we're not reading the text in Hebrew, we're missing out on so many things. There's things happening in the Hebrew that never make it to the translation. So that once you start reading the Bible in Hebrew, and then you look at the translation, you'll be like, you just added 4 words that's not even in Hebrew. Or you just took away some words. What are you doing? So here's the reality, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but here's the reality. There's no translator that's immune to having a bias. So everybody translating the Bible, for the most part, probably has a belief in the Bible. There are very few biblical translators that don't believe in the Bible, whether they're Christian, Jewish, or whatever. They all have some belief. Their beliefs make their way into the translation. Where that becomes problematic is for people that don't read the language. They become a slave to the person who can read it, and whatever their interpretation and bias says is what they read in the translation. But if you're able to bypass somebody's translation because you know what the original says, you can take all of that amazing stuff in. And I got to tell you, our class ring bells talking about all the amazing stuff that's happening only when you're looking at it in the Hebrew.
In fact, well, I appreciate that, man. I'm going to end there because I could ask questions all day. Hey, brother, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate the panel. Like I said, amazing breakdown. Our praises to the Most High for that. Hey, Zion, great class and teachings, man. I'm going to definitely have to put that on replay. You brothers be safe, man. Peace and blessings, man. Peace out.
By the way, I want to just use this opportunity to say RIP, SIP to one of my Hebrew teachers, Moreh Yehotzedek Ben Levi, who passed just early this morning. For those of you who follow me on social media, you know that I posted it. My heart goes out to his daughters, Shoshana, Malka, Zakia. We all know each other since 1995. Their father was the second person I learned Hebrew from. He goes back to an old congregation called Bnei Zaken, where the mentor or the leader of that congregation, Nasi Yaakov, he was the mentor of Jeff Fort and the El Rukins in Chicago. There's a lot of history that I want to go into soon that talks about the Israelite origins in this country that a lot of people aren't aware of. And I'm going to say something in closing with all due respect. A lot of people are misinformed to say that One West is the foundation of every Hebrew group in this country, and that is incorrect. I also don't believe that everyone is saying this, but I also know that many people think this. One West is made to be seen as the hub from when all groups come from. Especially when you hear outsiders speak of Israelites, they say, oh, everybody comes from One West. Anybody that knows the history knows that that's not true. One West is 1969. The congregation that my teachers come from, B'nai Zakin, they opened in camp in 1947 in the early 1950s. They come from the old commandment keepers, which we all know is 1919. So there's so much history to explore. It's a history that occurs where the Israelite stones, as in Peace Stone Nation, the Israelite stones in Chicago reordered gangs and was doing good things with the gangs. Brought that knowledge to New York and also did good things with the gangs. Much of that knowledge made its way to the movie Sonny Carson, the miseducation of Sonny Carson. A lot of that history needs to be brought out, not to celebrate gang culture, but to show that Israelites galvanize and organize with their right mind. We could be the one to change these youngins, YNs on the street, and get them to organize in a way that can help our people. That's what Israelites in this country did. Let me drop a gem that some of you may not know, some of you probably do know. Israelites were at the forefront of the earliest quote unquote black gangs in this country. And if you know anything about black gangs in this country, they were all formed to fight the beast, the man, the police. That was Israelite inspired. A lot of us know about Bloods, a lot of us know about Crips, but how many of you ever think about why a blood calls another blood Damu? Because what the hell do they know about Hebrew? Damu is how you say blood in Hebrew. There were Israelites that was involved in that organization. Many of them were originally Peace Stone, Black Peace Stone Israelites that started in Chicago. If you know anything about the gangs in LA, they all started in Chicago. I could say more, but
Definitely. Listen, man, 200 plus still watching. Let me look. How many of us in here right now? I'm looking at what? Over 200. Hey, hit the like button. Let's make the likes look like the amount of people that's watching. This is one thing that we, at least inside the nation, man, we are trying to relearn it. Even our congregation, we looking at things over again. And like the brother Zion said before, you know, to not be able to admit I may have been wrong or I may not have the complete information on whatever it is that you're talking about. If you can't do that, it's a reason you can't do that. It's a reason. You don't want to lose followers, subscribers, your money might get low and all the rest of that. But it ain't about that. It's about increasing that knowledge and changing what we need to change so we can please the Father. We got one more person on stage on the Clubhouse, and we have one more person that I need to call back on the phone side. So 2 more questions. You good with that up? Zion? You good with that?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I mean, to be honest with you, you know, it's the Shabbat. It is kind of late, but I'm enjoying myself, man. So it's on you. If you got time to take more, you know, it's on you, man.
Okay, we'll make these the last 2, and then we'll close it out. Let me get this call back to 570. Let's get it. You got to answer though. Nah, I told this man to answer his phone. There you go. Hey, Shalom, Mark. This is somebody calling back from Inside Nation Radio. Hey, you on the phone with Zion? What's your comment or question that you have?
Yes, my brother. Shalom. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to post my question. To my brother, Nasi Avidel Ben Levy, my question to him was he familiar with the writings of the book of Daniel? Daniel from the 2nd chapter down to the 7th chapter speaks of the Hebrew language the Aramaic language being spoken. So my question to him was, how long or how old is the Aramaic language?
Yeah, so as I mentioned to the caller that was on previously, Aramaic has traces and elements as early as the Bronze Age period. So the Bronze Age period, if we're not familiar with the chronology of history, the Bronze Age period is about 3100 to 2900 BC, meaning that's the starting point, and it ends at about circa 1500 BC, which begins what we call the Iron Age. So Aramaic is attested to as early as the Bronze Age period. So that's 3200 BC up until present day that we are aware of Aramaic. Hebrew is interesting. Hebrew is attested to from those periods, but it's written using other writing forms or the other writing systems. You don't find Hebrew inscriptions that date back to 3200 BC, but you do find inscriptions that are writing things in Hebrew. Excuse me, you do find inscriptions from other language where you read the inscription and it's not making sense in that language because what they're actually writing is Hebrew. I'll give an example. You often might hear people in the Kemetic community say silly things like Hebrew as a language was given to us by the Egyptian people, and we didn't, the people of Kemet, and we didn't know Hebrew. That's nonsense. We knew Hebrew so much, and Hebrew was such a thing that even Egyptians revered Hebrew. I would ask anybody right now, in fact, I'm asking everybody, if you have another device, most of us definitely have another device. Go on Google right now and type in Semitic serpent spells. Semitic serpent spells. Carved on the Egyptian pyramid text is what's called Semitic serpent spells. So most of us should know that Egyptians had this great belief in life after life. Much of Egyptian spirituality and religion is actually focused on the things that occur after life. That's not to say that they don't talk about things that's happening in life that gets you there, but most of it is about the afterlife, right? On that note, in passing various corridors in the afterlife, there are various entities or things that a person may encounter. Inscribed in a pyramid text in a particular corridor, it shows you that a person might encounter snakes. I can go into the Amduat, which is the Book of Gates, and talk about why that is. We don't have enough time to do that, but I'll simply tell you this. Egyptians writing during the pyramid text era, which is 2300 BC, believed the only way that they could have safe passage in that particular corridor of the afterlife is to get rid of the snakes by speaking Hebrew. So we know for a fact that Hebrew exists from the period that we find Aramaic too. And there are other ways that we can show that Hebrew exists. And as far as the book of the book of Daniel having Aramaic, the book of Daniel switches from Daniel chapter 2, I believe it's about verse 4, all the way to Daniel chapter 8 and 9, where from Daniel chapter 2 and verse 4 all the way to 8 and 9, it's all Aramaic. And the Aramaic part begins in Daniel where it says, and the king spoke to the people in Aramaic. From that point onward, all the book of Daniel is in Aramaic until the 8th and 9th chapter. Similarly, the book of Nehemiah and the book of Ezra, entirely Aramaic. And that's where you find the Aramaic version of the name Yehoshua, which is a Hebrew name, and the Aramaic version is Yeshua. So yeah, I'm definitely aware of those things.
Gotcha. Very good information. Because I've heard some even argue that Hebrew is describing the nationality of the people, but they actually spoke Aramaic. So Hebrew
Abraham
as a
Aramaic.
nationality.
Mm-hmm. Abraham spoke Aramaic.
Aramaic is that?
Abraham certainly spoke Aramaic. Abraham was clearly a polyglot, because to function in southern Mesopotamia during what's called the Neo-Sumerian Renaissance period, right? Now we're getting into history. Abraham lives chronologically in 2000 BC. What's happening at that time in southern Mesopotamia, you're having a resurgence of Sumerian culture. Sumerians had been overtaken by a people called the Gudayans, and they were ruling in that region for almost 200 years. During Abraham's lifetime in 2000 BCE, Sumerians and the Akkadians once more came again, revolted, and they began to bring in and usher in a resurgence of Sumerian culture and tradition. So that period is known as the Sumerian Renaissance period, or the Neo-Sumerian Renaissance period, similar to the Harlem Renaissance period, which is a resurgence of original Harlem culture. So because of that iconic feature that we're aware of what's happening during that time, were able to speak towards a lot of things that's happening. So during the Neo-Sumerian Renaissance period, we know for a fact that not only is elements of Hebrew present, but we know elements of Aramaic are present. And we see that because there's an entire track of archaeological evidence following Abraham's journey from Mesopotamia all the way to the Levant that bears attestation showing you that Aramaic was there. So when our people start speaking Aramaic again during the Persian Empire, this was not a language family that we were foreign to. Abraham knew how to speak it. All of our ancestors did. When Abraham came into the land of Canaan, Canaanites were speaking Phoenician Hebrew. Abraham spoke Aramaic, and he spoke variations of Akkadian and Sumerian.
All right, caller, we definitely appreciate you calling in. We're going to get the next question. Make sure y'all hit that like button, caller. Oh, he don't hung up. I was trying to tell him to hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit that like button, man. If y'all think the information that came out was fire information, that the brother Zion dropped some gems that we all can learn from, hit the like button. That actually helps with the algorithm. That gets more people to see the show and they can hear the information themselves as well. So do your part. We got one last question that we're about to take on the Clubhouse side. Somebody's on stage. I can't really see the name.
It's Brother Shah.
Brother Shah, you got it.
Sister
I'm a
Shika.
sister.
Oh,
I'm a
Sister Shah, my
sister.
bad.
Salaki,
Hey,
I apologize.
he told me,
It's
brother.
okay.
It's his fault.
It's okay. Shalom.
Shalom,
Good
sis.
night, good morning, good evening, everyone. The comment was like, this was a very interesting, very informative class, and I really enjoyed it. I hope to hear more. I'm on the Clubhouse side, so I don't see the link. I'll go and revisit the YouTube later. But I do have a question. So a lot of what the people who are addressed as the Hebrew Israelites today go based off of the Lashawan Qadash. And when they come into this, they are told they need to choose a new name based on the Lashawan Qadash, utilize the Lashawan Qadash in essentially the daily lives. How would we best, like, what should we do about that? Because I had a issue with the name that I had so-called chosen a couple of years ago. It didn't feel right, especially based off of the Lashawan Qadash. I preferred my original name and the meaning that it came from, seeing as it had more of an Aramaic origin that was easier understood to me. But for others who might
What does your
be
name mean, by the way, if you don't mind me asking? What does your
my
name mean?
name,
Before telling me your
Tashika,
name, what does it mean? Don't tell me your name. What does your name mean?
one who is
There's a reason
certain,
why I
one
asked you
with
like that.
wisdom.
People who really know the language will tell you the name just by hearing the meaning.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one who is certain, someone who is sure of themselves. That's the meaning of my name.
And they told you that was Lashawan Kodash?
No. Did you mean my actual name or the Hebrew
No, the
name?
name that you were given. Yeah, the Lashawan Kodash name that you were given. That you said you came to find out you didn't really favor that
I
name.
didn't. It didn't
What
really
did they
fit
tell
me
you?
personally, but it was
Okay.
Talia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talia is not common in biblical Hebrew, but it does exist as a Hebrew variant.
Mm-hmm.
You have the term Tala or Tale. You find that in several spaces in biblical Hebrew. I don't find that pronunciation deviates from biblical Hebrew. I think Talia is a fine pronunciation. I wouldn't say that that's a misappropriation of biblical Hebrew. If they told you that in Lashawan Kodash that name is pronounced Talia, I could tell you that that's not an inaccurate pronunciation. See,
No.
one of the things I
That
definitely
Yeah, that wasn't my question. No, it wasn't about my name specifically. It was about the names that branched off of the Lashawan Qadash
okay.
that I know other people carry.
Yes. Okay. So what I would suggest to you is the first thing you have to do is learn Hebrew formally.
Mm-hmm.
By that I mean seek out someone, and that's hard to say, right? Because everyone will tell you, I know Hebrew, I know the Paleo. That doesn't make sense, by the way, when I hear people say that. I speak the Paleo Paleo is a script. You can't speak a script, but you can speak a language. Please, Israelites, don't say that out loud. There's a proverb that says, better to be thought of as a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. There's no way you speak the Paleo. That's a script. Whether we're writing Paleo or biblical Hebrew, it's going to sound the same. The writing of David's time is Paleo Hebrew. The writing of the writing of Daniel's time is biblical or modern Hebrew. Both of them sound the same. David didn't speak the Paleo and Daniel spoke the Yiddish. I'm sorry, but yes. So I tell you what I could do. If you go back and you watch the YouTube video and you were impressed or moved or inspired by anything you said, you can reach out at 613-learntorah@gmail.com. You can reach out at patreon.com/learntorah, or you could reach out to good brother Abaya and he could connect you with our online academy where you can actually learn biblical Hebrew.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Man, listen, as I stated at the beginning, this show, I'm a student. I learned so much. I don't know anybody out of the 200 plus people watching. Even if you say I disagree, it was one guy who swore he just disagreed with everything. But I'm sure he took something. You had no choice but to learn it. It was right in front of your face. And I think it does just boil down to pride. So again, when I was having this thought process about the name and the language and, the accuracy of it, I reached out to the brother. And again, he decided to come on, grace us with a brilliant breakdown, that we can all learn from. I just want to say I appreciate you coming up. And hopefully, we can get more shows in the future. And I got to take that biblical Hebrew class, man. I'm gonna be in there.
Big salute to you, man. And I want to say this. There have been people that joined my academy and came in the first day and saw that I was teaching biblical Hebrew, and they said, "Oh, you teach the Yiddish?" and left. Many of them rejoined years later, only to find out that I wasn't teaching the Yiddish. I was teaching actual, real Hebrew. But it just goes to show you that sometimes misinformation can have dire consequences.
Yeah.
Because I did make that person pay twice.
Hey, facts.
You gotta learn. You gotta learn.
Hey, but that I want to say this before we let you go, that breakdown with the biblical Hebrew and the Yiddish side by side, for whatever reason, that one just really jumped off the screen. Like, you can't get past that. And it was like day and night, right? Two different pronunciations for day and night.
Completely. In fact, if you ever want me to come back, I could open the show and show you that. I can show you a Yiddish rendition of the first paragraph in Genesis, and it will be using the Hebrew characters that we know, but it won't be using any of the same letters for those words. It's spelled completely different. It's completely different words because it's a completely different language. Jewish people do actually have a Yiddish Bible where they actually spell Hebrew letters according to Yiddish words. So you can actually go through a Yiddish Torah and a Yiddish Bible. A biblical Hebrew manuscript would read, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashemayim wa et haaretz. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. A Yiddish one would be completely different. It would read something like, Te'eva mehuga. Does that sound like Bereshit bara Elohim et hashemayim? It's completely different. I made that up, but I'm just using an example to tell you it literally reads completely different because it's not the same language, which means there was someone in One West that may have been lazy and saw that Yiddish uses modern Hebrew characters, biblical Hebrew characters, and because they saw that, they knew for a fact that this particular writing they were looking at was Yiddish in language, but not in script. But them not knowing the difference because they don't know Hebrew assumed any writing in that script must be Yiddish. Even though, as I showed at the head of the show, the Dead Sea Scrolls is the same exact letters and text as what people call Yiddish today. And that's insane. That in 2025, you can literally go on Google and look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, look at the letters and see it's the same exact letters in quote unquote biblical and modern Hebrew, but Israelites is calling it the Yiddish. So I guess our ancestors in the Dead Sea Scrolls was preserving the Yiddish.
Now that would be crazy.
That's crazy.
That's great. Hey, so since you put the offer out there, Big, I would definitely love for you to come back. I guess we'll talk about that at a later date and off the camera. But of course, for y'all on the Clubhouse side, I know y'all can hear everything, but y'all definitely want to come over to the YouTube side and check out the presentation. For y'all on the YouTube side who saw the presentation, you might want to watch the presentation again. There was a lot of information in there. I know I'm gonna have to watch it again. So we learned a lot. I definitely appreciate it again, Big God, for you coming. This really opened my eyes to what I was initially thinking before I actually reached out to you. So I definitely appreciate it. Listen, we gonna get up out of here. Man, all praise to the Most High. We're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna close it out with a song. I don't know which one I'm gonna play. I seen somebody had a request, but I don't have that song that you requested, sister. We're gonna close out with a song. I'm gonna reach out to you. I know you say it's late. Just 11:26. You on the East Coast or you on the West Coast? Where you at? You on the East Coast?
Brooklyn, East Coast.
All right. You gotta make that Tampa trip.
I'll be in Tampa. I definitely hit Florida. Florida is my favorite place in the whole universe right now. I would definitely come to Tampa to check you. I have my grandmother and my aunt live in Tampa actually, and I'm actually due to visit them really, really soon. So if that's where you at, we could definitely connect.
Definitely looking forward to it. All right. Well, we're gonna get up out of here, man. It was an amazing, powerful show. We all got a lot to learn. Got to hit the books and the Hebrew Torah Academy. Y'all definitely need to check it out. I know I will be. Before I couldn't do so because of my schedule, but I'm definitely coming. I got to. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So listen, we're going to get out of here, Israel. We appreciate y'all. Again, if you haven't seen it already, you're on the Clubhouse side, come over here to the YouTube side and check it out. We are going to go out on, let me see what track. All right, we got a request for something I do got. What you say? Dang, I just lost it. Darash and Gaza? Let's get it. Dagger in the ship.
Head knocker, finna need a helmet. Heard it, felt it, booting up the nail shit. Dagger. Cutting up the lessons, keep a shield on me, it's a M&P West. Boot bop, blue strip, rooftop, big brew bowling in a city where it's too high. Boo wide, knee deep, two sock, mind on scripts, got script. I'm a cool doc, hold up. This truth music, dagger in the shield, better get used to it. New shit, new skins, new wild, waited on God. God came in due time, zealous. For the law, I'm jealous. My God, our God, nothing you can tell is Christ. Waiting on the chariots, crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. Life's a little different when you active in the field. Keep a dagger in the shield. Life's a little different when you active in the field. Keep a dagger in the shield. Dagger in the shield, that dagger in the shield. Dagger in the shield, that dagger in the shield. Dagger in the shield, that dagger in the shield. Life's a little different when you active in the field.
On my shield, not a star, it's a lily. Riches up in heaven, but I'm still getting chilly. Bible in my hand, but I'm still toting Billy. Niggas wanna stop it, they gon' have to come and kill me. And I'm a west side nigga, and I get it cracking. I get the waving arms like a beauty pageant. I got the faith in the works, I don't do the acting. Big Sakari on the chest, niggas know the facts.
You can look me in my eyes and tell I've been testing. I tell the truth and not only, I'm never gonna stretch it. Cause I don't got $1 million, they missing the message. I think God made it out, those part of the message. I really grew up in the war, told me to be a soldier. Suffering from PTSD, asking God for closure. All my prayers go to Yahweh, I don't say Jehovah. I'm trying to walk in Christ's ways while them niggas be posers. Life's a little different when you active in the field. Keep a dagger in the shield. Life's a little different when you active in the field. Keep a dagger in the shield. Dagger in the shield, that dagger in the shield. Dagger in the shield, that dagger in the shield. Dagger in the shield, that dagger.
Hey, shout out real quick, Benjamin Direwolf. Hey, I appreciate the super chats. I didn't get a chance to say that earlier, but I definitely appreciate all the support that you show the platform. All praise for the Most High God for the brotherly love.
Niggas say they hit the field and they run plays. That's big cap like your granny on Sunday. To the kingdom, one door, yeah, it's one way. Don't turn them down for these laws, we gon' run fade. Blue strip, gold fringe, and the gold rollie. Gold slogan, 3 B's, all my brews know me. The word got these demons mad, close fists like Arthur. Cause I go against the grain, I'm a bad barber. You see the crimson and gold, nigga. True Nation run the west, we in control, nigga. TNC dagger men, shit is real. Wartime, we hit and kill with the dagger in the shield, nigga.
Life's a little different when you active in the field. Keep a dagger in the shield. Life's a little different when you active in the field. Keep a dagger in the shield. Dagger in the shield. Dagger in the shield.
Hey, we got a hater in the chat that say he don't really like the song, but we gonna keep playing it. We gonna play another one after this too. I don't know why that brother be hating, man. You know, that's what he do sometimes. That's just the way they built. They hate on people. I'm just playing. That's my good brother, man. I'm joking. Hey, let's get another one before we get out of here. I'm gonna play an oldie, but one of my favorites. All right, this called Nat Turner. I love this. This is Light of Zion, LOZ, South Florida, Fort Lauderdale.
Because the picture of dry bones in the valley is talking about you. The picture of Lazarus laying dead 4 days is talking about you. You're Lazarus. You're the dry bones. You're the prodigal son. You're the lost sheep. You're the people about whom the Bible is speaking, who will stand up in the last day when the trumpet is sounded. Black people are waking up. Black people are standing up. Black people are rising up, and they're throwing sight into that knee-shaking white man.
I keep on having visions that they put me in the auction, a runaway slave till they put me in the coffin.
Hey, Tanir100, you got to email it to me at InsideTheNationRadio@gmail.com.
Can't believe my eyes, cause I'm seeing life distorted. The princess in chains while the servants drive Porsche. He ain't want the baby, so she had an abortion. Grown men walking around in women's clothing. The daughters of Zion is acting like whores. Remove this cup for me, cause I can't take this shit no more. 1611 got a sharpen up my sword. Living in the third day, it's gonna be a holy war. Lope up at my table in the presence of my enemies. Talk behind my back, but they don't keep that same energy. Tell me how you real, but you got them fake tendencies. Manipulating scriptures, you ain't nothing but a Pharisee. Got me suicidal, cause I can't tell my friends from my rivals. Gotta keep my rifle right next to my Bible. Father, please forgive me for my sins and wicked ways. I know I violated on that covenant we know I have mercy. Picture in the day we see a solar eclipse and watch it how it shall walk over that water in Flint. Cause it's time for revenge, that's what I read in Revelations. And we don't want no money, we need blood reparations.
I mean that, cause these white folks see us as thugs. I don't care what y'all think. I don't care if you think you a lawyer, if you a man, if you an African American, if you whatever you think you are. We thugs against these motherfuckers. You know? And until we lose, I'ma call it like it is. I just wanna be a man and be strong. You know? And we can walk outside different houses like a man and these motherfuckers.
I'm Nat Turner on this beat, Dutty Bookman flow. Oppression and poverty while you slay my people though. Y'all dirty pigs, gotta pay for what y'all did. Y'all fed the babies to gators, remember gator betas. I call it nowadays because revenge is sweet. Y'all heard my fathers from the tree, cause they look like me. But letter to my dog, man, I ate a call. Turn like coal, you can call them as I run a spoons. My scripture break his bones, and then it make you strong. We study it for hours, this word ain't for no cowards. We building us the soldiers, it wake you up like Folgers. We prophesying wins, we looking for the wins. Cause we don't take no L's, we coming up from hell. My scriptures ain't...
Hey, Shalom 144 got jokes.
Fluoridated water, children on the street selling bodies for a quarter. Fringed up with my beard, mixture on my head. I look around, see a lot of spirits dead. I see the demons talking, I hear the spirits chirping.
I ain't gonna lie, that was funny.
People hurting. You looking at the sons of the true and living God. Weak Edomites run the world, something nah. Teach my hands to fight and please prepare my spirit. Banging for our power until the people hear.
I sit alone in my four-corner room staring at candles. No, literally menorahs, all this OGs I see. Staying lit like the light of Zion, that's all I be on. Qadash and Karatas are all a passion, eat them peons and make it look so damn good when we slide through. Can't see the shoes up under my garment, it's like we glide through.
Really, shaming these shade-faced cavemen. Every other day we wake up Jake in different raiment. I'm just saying, boys hotter than corduroy in the Trans-Sahara. That knowledge come and walk by us, I guarantee we'll tell you. Not one word will ever fail you, all we do is prophesy. While your pastor eating pork chops and telling lies. I can tell by your mentality that you probably know. Ask you if you got it with fringes, you saying probably no. Obedience is better than sacrifice, so we stay on par. The same reason Zaquan Matata walk call me Basadar. You still don't get it? Better move boy, we them rude boys ain't no bullshit. Repent or get your wig split. Hold the Torah open, let me show you what I stand on. Thinking we ain't keeping commandments, boy, you dead wrong. Back to the place where commandments can only get us what you talking about. Eating my witness, now you can't come with us. It's a closed party, only march to the eye. Yasha, I don't enter there. 12 gates with no white people. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hey, so y'all already see what it is, man. Inside the Nation, we got the most fire shows in Israel. Y'all might as well subscribe, share to all your family, tell them to come watch. Not only do we got fire shows, hey, we got the best music around here. Hey, y'all, yeah, send that to me at Inside the Nation Radio at Gmail. Send me that music, man. I'm gonna play it. We got the best music in Israel, man. That's what we do. All right. Hey, listen, next week, make sure y'all here. We going over the topic it's a question. How did Esau become white? If you believe Esau the white man, how did he become white? Y'all don't want to miss that one next week. Make sure y'all here Friday night, 8:30.
The fishermen that put away the fishing poles. In very small numbers, Yahweh sent forth his hunters. Strong towers they conquer. Over walls they jump. Over heads they stumped. Over heads they stumped. This is the hunt. This is the almighty power of revenge that make mighty men cower within. By his mighty hand we been brought up out of this land. This is our exodus. Don't kill the messenger, just take the messages. Are you listening? Are you listening? This is our exodus. Don't kill the messenger, just take the messages. Are you listening? Open up your ears. This is our exodus. Don't kill the messenger, just take the messages. MYMG, LOZ, AOI. Pay attention.
I'm in my bag right now. I don't even feel like leaving right now. I got a couple more I got to play. As everybody go out. We still got 120 plus people, so I'm guessing y'all enjoying this too. I got one more to play for y'all, maybe two more. We'll see how we feel. Clubhouse, we're gonna keep it open. You know, it's gonna become a chill room. Don't change the title though. Keep the title the same.
God on your side, you can talk like this. Draw a line in the sand, nigga, cross that wrist. When Christ crack the sky, we gon' slide, nigga. The left side or the right, pick a side, nigga. When God on your side, you can talk like this. Draw a line in the sand, nigga, cross that wrist. When Christ crack the sky, we gon' slide, nigga. Left side or the right.
Hey, Dire Wolf, I don't think I got that one.
Jungle, yeah, you know we roll. No spirit medium, you see we waking up the Holy Ghost. They try to hide the truth, but they know we know the strip crip blue, but the fringe and the rolling gold. Yeah, niggas hopping on the tracks where they verses cold, but never focus on them verses that can save your soul. All praise to Yahweh, yeah, we giving honor. The irony, I'm trying to drown in this living water. You live that fast life, it's a quick end, nigga. Get your hands off your hips and put your brick in, nigga. A lot of niggas know the truth, but they ain't really fear it.
Hey, yo, you gotta send it to me. I show love to all the brothers. All right? You gotta send me the music.
Still out here on the field, yeah, you know the mission. Only focus on the wins, never counting losses. That Holy Ghost face killer, big brute boss shit, nigga.
Hey, but if it's trash though, I can't play it. I'm just saying.
Draw a line in the sand, nigga, cross that wrist. When Christ crack the sky, we gon' slide, nigga. The left side or the right, pick a side, nigga. When God on your side, you can talk like this. Draw a line in the sand, nigga, cross that wrist. When Christ crack the sky, we gon' slide, nigga. Left side or the right, pick a side, nigga.
Separate the sheep from the goats, but they say I'm the greatest. It's ironic how I'm both. One of them ones the flow can lead slave revolts. I'm a star refugee, ghost flowing through my posts. Look at me, I'm the captain now. Make them faggots walk the plank for the nation. We ain't backing down. They switch sides like the tassel on a captain gown. Acting like they about that action. It's the famous Jet Jackson. For the father, I'm a savage. I done lost all my compassion. Kidnapping, get ravaged, sacrificing, gift wrapping. Why you watch my niggas starve? You wax fat, big back, and now you food for the maggots. When the kingdom get established, Holy Ghost, face killer, boot boss. It's an issue, 21, it's a knife. If them scud missile missions, we gon' boom bye bye till it's kumbaya. Then mama say, mama sa, mama kusa, my nigga,
Yeah. Double homicide.
With God on your side, you can talk like this. Draw a line in the sand, nigga, cross that wrist. When Christ cracked the sky.
Okay, I gotta get with Deke. Hey, appreciate the super chat. I gotta get with Deke and see if he gonna send it to me.
Talk like this. Draw a line in the sand, nigga, cross that wrist. When Christ cracked the sky, we gon' slide, nigga. Left side or the right, pick a side, nigga.
Going out, last track of the night. We finna play that False Prophets. This is my favorite. This is my favorite. Oh no, actually I lied. I'm playing one more. King David after this. Then I'm done.
Ain't rockin' with no false prophets. Don't know what that feel like. Gon' wanna hear about your dream. No more than the king, boy, this is real life. You came in like a savior, like you had a favor. My people still die. I can hear the pain and they still crying. They still sighing, you still alive. Ain't rockin' with no false prophets. We don't know what that feel like. Don't wanna hear about your dream. No more than the king, boy, this is real life. You came in like a savior, like you had a favor.
Yeah, you carry that thing, go hard on it.
And they still crying, they still sighing, you still alive.
It's a lot of bloodthirsty wolves rapping in the prey wearing sheep's clothing. And I don't like snakes, keep my grass cut so low you can't even mow it. Boy, your ears itching, you a hypocrite. What you doing when the book closed? Woe to the pastor that scattered the chosen, causing division, we gotta expose it. My people, they out here starving, you at the ATM making deposits. Some of these niggas be worse than these Christians with fringes and ribbons on hips of their garments. Do anything for the clout, praising your house shot out of your mouth. But lead us to slaughter like slaves at the auction, you traded your life in the field for a house. In the latter days, there'll be many that are going to depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits, doctrines of devils, falling away. And in that day, many shall say, have we not prophesied in that name? But all those that loathe thy law, the same will know it after death through pain. Like damn, you was just banging on Esau. Now you all hell banging on these laws. What's up with your doctrine? I thought you was solid, my nigga. I never thought you was a fall. I know we all gotta answer to God. Yeah, how I know that I'm bearing my cross? But any man teaching, don't keep the commandments. At least up in heaven, I'm praying for y'all.
False prophets, don't know what that feel like. Gon' wanna hear about your dream. No more than the king, boy, this is real life. You came in like a savior, like you had a favor. My people still die. I can hear the pain and they still crying. They still sighing, you still alive. Ain't rockin' with no false prophets. We don't know what that feel like. Don't wanna hear about your dream. No more than the king, boy, this is real life. You came in like a savior, like you had a favor. My people still die. I can hear the pain and they still crying. They still sighing, you still alive.
All right. We still got over 100 people rocking out with us. Hey, happy Sabbath to those who are observing. Shah Shabbat. Oh wait, that might not be correct. That might not be correct way to say it. Hey, we learning around here. We're gonna get one more, then we're gonna get out of here. King David.
Oh, King David. Let's get her. Frankincense. Myrrh and frankincense. Frankincense. Myrrh and frankincense. Shit. Said it was 40 days, 40 nights. We was fighting for our life. I could never sell my soul because I gave it all to Christ. David saw Goliath and it was on sight. Hit the heathen with the rock cause the heathen couldn't fight. Cut his head off and then he put it on the spike. All my Hebrew Israelites, we about to ride tonight. Bye, kumbaya, send you to the afterlife. But you gotta walk by faith because you cannot walk by sight. I could turn water into wine. Pork on my fork, I could never chew the swine. And my body is a temple, got it looking like a shrine. You can keep your purple dollars, but you running out of time. Solomon, 1 and 10, gold teeth, when I grin, banging on Esau. This revenge of the twin. If you win, Yasharella, we ain't kin, we ain't friends. We ain't all that have breath, praise it, how a amen. Amen. Come. Yeah. It's King Qadash. It's King Qadash. It's King Qadash. Rockin' this melanin, what is you telling me? We are the gods, y'all love is irrelevant. Kings of the earth, we had it since birth. Y'all took it away, Isaiah said y'all would pay. I'm struggling, hustling, money wasn't doubling. Mama working, daddy gone, grandma died, now I'm alone. What's going on in my life? When I was 10, almost lost my life. No son, your purpose isn't finished. So I kept on pushing, and I kept on searching. Found the true God, God knows I was hurting. And demons
demons kept lurking, but I kept on working. Now I know for certain who's the true God. Is that John 5:39, search the scripture. In Isaiah 45, it paints the perfect picture. Come out of my people, Jacob run the world. We the kings and the gods of the earth. You wasn't nothing. You heathens burn. The tables turn. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Hey, Lashawan, Israel. Definitely appreciate y'all hanging in there with us. Awesome lesson, awesome class by the brother Zion Lexx. And if anybody ever asks, I say this all the time, I just keep it 100. I think this brother is the coldest brother in, the coldest teacher in Israel. That's my opinion. You know what I mean? Don't argue with me. I'm right. All right. That's my opinion. As y'all see, the information that came out, we're gonna have the brother on again. Y'all make sure y'all check it out. If y'all on the Clubhouse side, come on to the YouTube side, watch the presentation. It was fire. But with that, we're gonna say, I almost said Shalom. Hey, well, I'm gonna end it with a shalom. Hey, shalom, Israel.